Welcome everybody to our latest session of the Rise of Tiamat. As usual, we'll do a quick recap of what occurred last week, and then we will jump into our session proper. So, full disclosure here, guys. I didn't, as far as timing goes here, I didn't do the one thing I normally do right before all these sessions, which is review the previous session and make sure my recap's on point. But we will do a high-level summary overview of what occurred, and then obviously that gives many more opportunities for you guys to add additional details for inspiration. So, remembering what we did last session. So, from my memory here, going off the cuff, you guys were traveling to Sobar. So, you guys made your way from the Borskir Bridge, passed by the shallow grave of Verum that you guys ditched in the bushes there, made your way to Sobar. Once you were at Sobar, you found that it was somewhat similar to Borskir Bridge, but much larger, but a big tent-type city. You guys then, from there, found the fountain that was in the tent, in the center of Sobar, and took the statue there, and found that there was a place where in the fountain, down below in the water, there was actually a missing statue, and it certainly seemed like this is exactly where the little girl statue should have gone. So by placing the little girl statue in the water nearby that place and letting go, she sort of twirled down and then almost as though magically fixed to exactly that position. Once that was complete, you notice these pools in the actual fountain being created, and these pools depicted different areas. Luckily, Hugo, with his Arcana and History knowledge, I think it was primarily Hugo, was able to determine most of these, and maybe it was Gale the first one. But long story short, you guys were able to tell that these three different pools represented different locations. So one of them was Waterdeep, which is where you guys obviously wanted to head back to. One of them was Neverwinter, and then the much more difficult one, but completely blown away by Hugo's skill check, was Scornubil, which is just east of Elturel, far southeast of Waterdeep, and so forth. So yeah, you guys revealed that information and decided to essentially use the Waterdeep portal. And once all of you guys got on the same page and used that portal, found yourself teleported back to Waterdeep and in the fountain area there. It was hard to say exactly how you knew this, but you could tell that this is not just a one-time thing. By going back to these fountains, you would be able to use them again and make use of those three locations. Or perhaps there might be more locations, hard to say, because you guys have only ever used the one from Sobar. So, but it's not something you can do over and over all the time. I gave a vague impression that perhaps once a week or so, these things recharge. So with that in mind, that is a tool you guys want to keep in your back pocket as far as when you have these requests or these different missions to go different places, where exactly to go. If it's far away, maybe making use of one of the fountain pools will be to your advantage. With that complete, you guys went into the bureaucratic offices there in Waterdeep, where the council is headquartered and meets regularly. You guys spoke with Dala, who's sort of been your handler from the council, and had another discussion about whether it was time to emerge from the shadows, as some of you believe that your identities had been revealed. Dala explained that she did not think that was the case, as all of her information pointed to that your names were not out there yet. There had been some information about your exploits, but no names attached to the events or what you guys have gotten into so far. So with that information in hand, you guys decided to remain in the shadows or covertly working for the council, with Dala still acting as that handler. There was a little bit of disagreement in the group, perhaps. Some folks wanted to go another way. So as you guys had that conversation with her, you guys, of course, did a bunch of shopping as well before you went to her. But once you went and spoke with her, she also mentioned that there was a representative of the council who she trusted quite significantly, and he was looking for some assistance. So she thought that this might be a good middle ground, that she could introduce you to this member of the council, sort of the ambassador of one of the factions, and you guys would get a little bit of face time with that individual. But, being that she trusts him a lot, your names hopefully would remain still out of the public sphere, and you'd be able to continue working as covert agents. So this seemed to work for all of you. You guys agreed with that. And that's where we wrapped up. So this agent was going to be ready to meet with you guys soon. And you guys, again, spent quite a bit of time in Waterdeep selling off some of the treasure, the loot that you had acquired, and looking to purchase some magic items. Being Waterdeep's a massive town, you're able to find some of what you wanted, not everything. And Kurtu was able to pick up his magical cloak, and Rasmus was able to pick up his polar bear cloak. So yeah, I think that's everything I remember. So we'll go ahead and stop there with my recap. Is there anything I missed that anybody would like to add?
Yeah, I got two things, but I think we left, before I say those, I think we left the session indecisive if we were going to go in front of the Emerald Enclave person. We had I remember Jordan was like, it seems like we're 3-3 on this. So
yes, and that is good enough. I'll give you even inspiration for just that. Because some of your team members were saying that yes, they would want to meet face to face, and others said no. So obviously that's certainly an option. If some people don't want to be revealed, they don't have to be, or you could make a group decision that everybody has to agree one way or the other.
I would like to bring up Spectre and Rasmus's conversation towards the end of the session there. I know obviously any players outside of those two wouldn't know, but obviously they heard it. So just there's a very cool RP moment where we found out a little bit more about Spectre's character and its background, and it may come to bite us in the ass later if
Maybe
we
quite
don't.
Literally.
Yeah, if we don't make sure we keep an eye on it.
Yes, indeed, good addition.
Kill party member PvP. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's what we always.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I didn't have my push to talk. Sorry, I meant to use my library voice on that one.
So yes, good addition there, Rasmus. You did learn some more about Spectre and her maybe origins might be the way of putting that properly. And a little bit of chaos was revealed there, and yeah, we will see what that unfolds in future sessions here. Anything else anybody would like to add? All right, if nothing else, then...
Well, can I add some general... Yeah, I already have inspiration, but Hugo very happily, I don't know about happily, but gave Dala the dragon wand. So she took it and wrapped it in the cloth. She was very careful not to touch it. And the other thing was Hugo spent $1,000 to get the expert map, and I thought that was a really smart move.
Second one, yes, definitely give you inspiration for that. The first one, no, because he did not give it to Dala. He very underhandedly sort of extracted some coin from her based on giving that scepter. So, but yes, indeed, she now does have the scepter, and she was very firm that the coin that she was giving to your team was from the council, and it was intended to be used to make your lives easier and be more successful carrying out your tasks as agents of the council, and not a payment specifically for the scepter, though Hugo is doing a whole lot of wink with that deal. All right, if there is nothing else, team, let's go ahead and get us right back into things. So you guys are still in Waterdeep, so we'll go ahead and put you on the Waterdeep map. As soon as I find the Waterdeep map. Let's throw you on Sword Coast for now. I know I have a Waterdeep map here. It looks like, I don't know if the screen got smaller. Oh, there it is. Oh, boy, I tell you, they need to do a better job of organizing these things. Apparently that's a feature that's coming, so stay tuned. Alright, team, so we find ourselves back in Waterdeep. You guys have spoken at the council headquarters there, speaking with Dala. I believe, technically, right where we left off, you guys had just left Dala's area, and she had said come back in a couple of days to meet with the agent. You had spent some time in town. And if there's anything specific other than you guys have already accomplished that you would like to do, feel free to speak up. Otherwise, we can assume those couple of days have passed. You guys have gotten your R&R, done the appropriate shopping, and are making your way back to the council headquarters.
Hugo wanted to bring up inside of our chat there that we found those coins from the Najara Empire on the ogres and he said orca, but I don't think that's right. Orcs. Oh. S instead of A.
Yes, yep, no worries there. Yeah, too bad we can't give inspiration to Hugo, but yes, that would have been worth it for sure. Yes, so you guys did indeed on the very beginning of the session, after you had defeated those that sort of ambush spot, you had recovered these Najaran coins, and Hugo rightly indicated that his knowledge was that Najara is known to resolve its disputes by hiring bounty hunters, and this sure seemed to fit the bill.
So what do you guys think we should do? Should we all meet with this druid dude? Or...
I don't see the problem in it. Why are some of you not willing to talk to them? I don't get it.
I want to stay covert myself, so you be you, and I'm just going to stay in the shadows. I'm now a shadow Kurtu.
Is that what your cloak does? It makes you turn into
shadow? It does. It has a lot of mystical abilities.
But, Kurtu, it does sound like this is going to be more covert. They're not going to give up our name. This is just a colleague of Dala's. So I don't think we're going in front of the council. This is just someone who's a representative of this specific faction. So I still think you'll be okay. But obviously
you talked me into it. Is there food? If there's food, I'll go.
Sure.
I'm not going to take the grapes like you guys did. That's a waste of a good dish.
No, we'll find you some fish. I forgot to tell you, but I bought some block and tackle, so when we leave next, we can go fishing and have a little bit of a better chance.
Nope, Adam threw me a big old giant 8-armed creature. Nope, no more.
Well, okay. We'll find you some eggs then. How about that?
I don't even know if that's safe anymore.
I don't have problem with talking to this person now that we've been talking about it. So we can go, but you guys make all the words.
Yeah, I forgot it was just the one-on-one, so my mistake. Yep.
Yeah, don't worry, Gil. We will not let you do all the talking.
Very nice of you.
What do you mean? He needs to practice Common as his second language.
I was just gonna say, yeah, he does need the practice in Common.
No, we'll just keep it as a second language. How about that?
Opportunity. Okay.
Would you guys want me to speak Draconic to these people? Yeah,
no, you don't have enough articulation.
Well, great word use. All right. Well, I think we should all go. I know Hugo and Harmony have a little bit of weird food poisoning, so they're kind of quiet back there, but I think we'll be okay.
Well, as you guys get prepared to go, in fact, what you find is there's a little note left from Harmony, and as you read it, it's kind of just got squiggles and arrows and stuff like that, and you're really confused at what this is as you're kind of at the inn, and eventually the innkeeper there tells you that, she saw a bee and started running after it, talking about something to do with nature, and wouldn't it be funny if that bee ended up being something really, and then she was out the door. So, but he thinks she'll be back fairly soon.
I was thinking it was going to read something like, yeah, she went out looking for dandelions. Who knows?
So, yes, it looks like the four of you, with, unfortunately, Hugo, staying in his room, we'll say, as he has, maybe come down with a little upset stomach, perhaps. So, yes, the four of you start off here, heading out of the inn and making your way to the bureaucratic headquarters. You've been here a few times now, so no big surprises as you're entering, passing by guards, passing by attendants. Some of them sort of just kind of eye you as you're sort of walking with purpose, and it seems like you know where you're going, and obviously don't have any obvious threat or danger to you at this point. None of them seem to pay too much attention. Once you get more to like the lobby where there are some more workers and like secretaries and that sort of thing, you notice one of the ladies looks up, seems to recognize you, and she just motions with her finger for you to await a moment as she makes her way to the back. About 5 minutes or so pass, and she comes out in back to the lobby, and she motions for you to follow her as she leads you back to the same room you've been to multiple times now with Dala. As you guys enter, doors close behind you. You see you're in this fairly decent-sized office room. There is another room that you know leads to like a sitting area. Could also be used for dining or small meetings, that kind of thing. So once you enter, you notice Dala sitting there at her desk. She gives the normal pleasantries, hello, how are you all doing, smiles, that sort of thing. And after the pleasantries are complete, she looks and says, "So, if you are ready to meet the agent of the Emerald Enclave, he is actually in the sitting room now."
Did you tell him our names, Dala, or what did you tell him about us?
No, I just said that I had a trusted group that has aided me in multiple different undertakings, and he had mentioned that he would like to speak with you out of a specific urgency on his plate.
Okay. Before we go talk to him, did you find anything out about Naren Vane, or is that part of what you're about to show us with this conversation?
She nods slowly and she says, "This name has been out there. I have seen some information recently within the last day or so, connecting with my agents and seeing what it is that I can find. It seems to be associated with the cult of the worm, and we suspect it may even belong to one of the worm speakers."
Yeah, we got that. That's the green one. But the next question is, did you tell the council about Verum? How'd they react to one of the worm speakers being killed?
Believe it or not, I haven't been able to disclose that information to them quite yet. You would think such information would be a very high priority and take precedence, but right now their agendas are full with other issues, and each one seems to be of the highest, most critical nature, that getting me to meet with them directly is still going to be a few days away.
Sounds
What are they so concerned about?
Well, with the council this large and all of the different factions, each faction has its own issues that wants to be represented. And as you can imagine, each faction thinks their issues are the most important. So trying to get everybody to agree on something that is of the highest importance and should supersede another standing item is quite challenging in this kind of environment. I'm doing what I can. Believe it or not, they first booked me for 2 weeks out, and I explained that the need here was quite urgent, and they were able to shift some things around, but I've already heard grumbling from the other ambassadors' attendants and so forth, and how unprecedented this is, and so on and so forth. So hopefully once the information is given to them, they will understand why all of these steps had to be taken.
I think I'd rather fight Naren Vane than do your job, Dala.
You notice she smiles slightly and she says, "Well, I appreciate your recognition of how challenging this can be sometimes. You all are the true heroes, of course, out there. But yes, this is my arena. I can't say that I exactly love it, but I'm at least good at it."
If you ever need someone to punch a political figure in the face, you've got one in me. So you can make that threat. It's not empty. If you tell me to punch someone, I will.
Oh, well, we try to keep those as very last resorts. Violence never really solves anything in council meetings.
Yeah, well, just keep it in your back pocket, Dala.
She gives you a polite nod.
I guess we'll go and talk to your associate now.
Okay, so would you like me to go in with you, or would you like to speak with him on your own? Either option is fine. I can do a quick greet and then step away, so all of you can speak privately, or if you would like me to be there and listen in, I can do that as well.
I don't want to speak for everybody here, Dala, but it seems that the people that we are fighting have some very strong magic, so perhaps the less each individual knows, the better.
You see she sort of nods slowly and her eyes scan across the rest of you in the room here to see if anybody else speaks up or mentions anything. Noticing blank stare, she nods and says, "Yes, that may be prudent. Well, the door is open. Feel free to head on in and close the door behind you. These rooms are quite warded for sound and eavesdropping, so you should be quite content inside."
Alright. Well, I'll crack open the door and step inside.
Alright, as you open the door, you notice the sitting room, and as mentioned previously, there is a decent-sized table in the middle. Altogether, this room's probably 20 feet by 20 feet or so, So certainly enough room for your team to come on in. Once all of you kind of filter on in at this point, you notice that it is a little cramped, but certainly still comfortable. Sitting on the other side of the table as you all begin to enter here, you notice what appears to be a human man in his later years, maybe 45, 50-ish, something in those area, or in that area. You notice first thing that really sticks out to you is he has these piercing blue or sort of hazel eyes and a very sort of coiffed hairstyle here and a significant scar on his face. He gives you a friendly nod and motions for you all to take a seat.
Kurtu sits down with his new robe in mind, just to make sure that people notice that it is flashy and colorful while he sits majestically.
You notice this gentleman's eyes do indeed catch the cloak, and he kind of raises his eyebrow just half a tick before lowering it back down. As you are all seated, you see his posture changes a bit as he leans forward, kind of crosses his arms on the table, and with a slight smile he says, "Greetings, I am Delon Wintershound. It is nice to make your acquaintance."
I nudged Rasmus.
Adam, can you put his name in chat? There we go.
Delon. Dala says that you work for the Emerald Enclave.
That is true, yes.
I think you'll understand if we don't share our names with you. It's not out of a lack of trust towards you, it's just how we conduct our business.
He nods slowly and says, "To be honest, I wasn't sure exactly how this was going to move forward, but now that we have that bit of etiquette out of the way, I'm happy to proceed if you all are."
Sure. What do you have for us?
Well, I am one of the agents, you can say the ambassador here for the Emerald Enclave on behalf of the Emerald Enclave's interests and its leadership, and I'm trying to make sure that things go well as this large conflict between the Cult of the Worm and pretty much all over the Sword Coast. I assume most of this is already known to you, but the reason that I'm seeking some talented individuals is there has been some very concerning news coming out of the Misty Forest. Are you familiar with it?
I'm not, so go on.
We all look over at Hugo with his new map.
Hugo, unfortunately, still back at the end.
Oh, that's right.
So you'll notice he sort of gives a slight nod and he says, "Well, the Misty Forest is just southeast of Daggerford, if you're familiar with that city. It is a fairly large forest and it is home to an elvish kingdom. The elves there have always been on fairly good relations with most of the other societies here on the Sword Coast. They are friendly, though they do keep to themselves for the most part. They don't necessarily love having guests, but they are also not straight up violent. So it's good partnership, I suppose you could say. And of course they are in league with the Emerald Enclave, so they are a great asset to have here, and especially against this fight against the Cult of the Worm. Unfortunately, one of the civilizations, or small, I suppose you could call them villages, to make your terminology make sense here, has been attacked, and it is not the first one. There's been a series of attacks, in fact, inside the Misty Forest. We believe that the cult is responsible for this, and I'd really like to have this escalated and investigated as soon as possible. Unfortunately, being that the Elvish Kingdom and its relationship with Waterdeep and other of the large human-run cities nearby is not at the same level as their relationship with the Emerald Enclave is, getting traction on any efforts has been slow. I understand from Dala that you all are very competent individuals and you are known to solve problems, and that is what we have here, so I'm hoping to enlist your aid.
Okay, well, there's a lot of open areas in your telling of the story there. For instance, multiple villages have been attacked. Attacked by what? Just the cult? Like a group? A dragon? What?
They've been attacked by a dragon as well as with cultists. It seems to be a sort of shock and awe kind of campaign where the dragon flies in, decimates the area, and then the cultists follow on the ground and finish off the individuals that survive the blast of the dragon. It is believed to be a green dragon and a fairly old one if the information that we have at hand is accurate.
Do you want to give us that information you have about the dragon then?
Well, this is what agents of the Emerald Enclave have been able to produce. The information they've had and what we've been able to get sent our way from folks on the ground there. The size of the dragon is very large, and as you're probably aware, the larger the dragon, the older it is.
Okay.
So, to start, is this something that you would be interested in aiding the Emerald Enclave and myself?
What kind of payment do you have for our services?
You see he kind of scratches at his chin for a moment and then leans back a bit and says, Dalla had not given to me the impression that you are working as mercenaries. I thought that you were in league with the council and were assets of the council and working to benefit and fight against the cult of the worm.
Sure, we are. None of us wants to see any further destruction from this cult. We align with your views on it. Yeah, you're right. But at the same time, you are going to stay within the city walls, protected, having discussions, while we're going to go deep into a forest and potentially fight an ancient green dragon. So the money you give us is used for antitoxin, healing potions, armor, weaponry. It's not like we're just using it to buy barrels of ale.
Give me a blind check here, Rasmus.
Let me drag my token over.
Top right of the page,
it's there.
You should see it.
I see it. Here we go.
You see he kind of narrows his eyes a bit as you're speaking, kind of leans back a bit farther once again. Well, I suppose I may be able to come up with a small stipend to aid you in these efforts. Truth be told, being that the council has not authorized this activity, I don't have access to the council funds to spend on this. So this would be coming straight out of the small amount of money I'm able to acquire from the Emerald Enclave in order to accomplish things in their views in this area. That budget that I have is not very large, so all those things you just mentioned, unfortunately that sounds quite expensive. Apologies if this is how you typically operate, where you receive a large upfront gold allotment and then you use that to solve problems. I had sort of understood from Dalla that you were very resourceful and you were able to handle these things without large investments.
Yes, you can pay us for our services completed. That's fine. We don't need it up front. We were paid quite well by Dalla for our last endeavor. I'm sure you
notice he
heard.
Seems very surprised by this, like his eyes kind of open wide, but then he regains his composure pretty quickly.
Look, darling, you have to understand. So far, we've fought 2 separate white dragons. We fought a cultist that had a scepter that could create a projection of a dragon. We captured the white worm speaker. We drug him through the mud. He died on his way here. Our services are not cheap, but they do get done. So you need us to infiltrate this village of yours that don't welcome outsiders normally after they've just been attacked. You have to understand that, we're putting our lives on the line immediately. They're hurt, they're confused, and it sounds like if it's a green dragon within a forest and it's doing multiple attacks, it must have some kind of lair nearby. What we learned from the white dragon is that some of them have multiple lairs that they hop to and from. And if there's cultists with it, then that means that there's probably a larger layer full of multiple cultists, which means that we're going to spend, gosh, I don't know, Spectre, what do you think? A week fighting, at least? So don't worry, if we want to make sure when we come back our bellies are full and our tankards are nice and overflowing, right?
You notice his hand sort of taps on the table, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, going from left to right on his left hand, and then he raises his hand to his chin once again. Well, it's quite unorthodox, but I must say, you seem like you really have this. You seem like you're confident that this is something that will be doable for you, and so being that you're my only option, it seems like it's worthwhile to pursue this. As I said, my funds are limited. What would it take for you to begin this process?
Well, I don't know how much you know about green dragons, but from what we've gathered and what we've learned is that they have an affinity for poison.
He nods.
We've spent the last, 4 days here since we've returned, each looking for items that could help us with this dragon being poisoned. We already kind of knew, right? You see, because the information we received from the worm speaker led us believe that Vein is the green worm speaker. And if you have a very large green dragon, a real one, and not just a projection, then odds are you may have this Vein close by. So anything that you can give us that would help us overcome poisons, which is something that I'm sure we'll have to face the next few days, that will be beneficial. If you cannot provide it before we leave, then when we return, Kurtu, what do you think is adequate in payment?
I don't know. I haven't really been doing all the calculations, but, I don't know what death is worth. We've lost some party members already going up against these guys. I don't know. Not these particular ones, but before. I don't know. Just a lot.
If we're going off of
enough,
what we were...
Enough. Not a lot, but a lot. Some. Good.
If we're going off of what we were paid before, then that means that 100 platinum pieces a person is our fee.
You notice he looks a bit uncomfortable once again, and it kind of takes him a moment here. You can tell he's almost like wrestling with this in his head, and then looks towards you once again. I certainly don't have that kind of coin that I can give you ahead of time. I can't make promises that I can make that sort of payment. I do have a small stipend, as I mentioned. I could give you 500 gold to get started. Hopefully that would allow you to buy some of these antitoxins and things that you mentioned. I'm afraid I don't know exactly the going price for such things. But if that would help you get started, if you are able to be successful in this, then I will see whatever pull I can with the Emerald Enclave. But that is a very hefty fee, so I don't know. Again, hopefully the elves there, they will be able to maybe chip in some of this cost, but I must ask, if you are there and speaking with any of them, don't act like you are acting to me now, because the entire, I suppose, fantasy at this point is that the council is all united and we are in service to the people of the Sword Coast. Any hint or whiff of mercenary type work is naturally going to cause people to have some concerns. We wouldn't want your team or others, let's say not your team, but others to be persuaded by purchasers that are able to offer more. So as long as your loyalty is to the council and you are against the cult of the worm based on your convictions and your beliefs, then I can see what I can do about arranging some other type of reward should you be successful.
I have to say, darling, I can understand why you earned your position as a representative for your enclave. You speak very high. You have great verbiage. That'll be fine for us. Like I said, we get things done, as you can tell by looking at us. We're here now, and I'm sure you've heard from Dala what we've already accomplished. So why don't we skip the part where we talk about money any longer, and instead you tell us what exactly it is you need us to do. Do you want us to just find this dragon and kill it? Are we putting a stop to the attacks? Are we just discovering what's happened? What do you exactly need from us?
What I'm hoping for is that you will travel to the last attacked village there in the Misty Forest and speak with the folks on the ground. Speak with the leadership there, see what you can learn. If this dragon is in a lair nearby, as you say, this may be the perfect opportunity to strike a blow against the cult. If this worm speaker is with him, then that would be a very significant blow dealt to the cult. And if you are successful in such an activity, surely even the council would seek to reward you in some fashion. But yes, primarily we want these attacks stopped. I've never known a green dragon to suddenly agree diplomatically to stop attacking, so I suspect violence will be needed in this case.
Wait a minute. Can we back up a second?
He turns and looks towards you and nods.
Before you were saying that the cult attacks, the dragon, this was some sort of shock and awe tactic. The dragon came in, destroyed a bunch of stuff, and then the cult came in and cleaned up.
That is true.
But there are survivors in a certain village, town, whatever you want to call it.
You see he pulls a tube from the side of his pouch and kind of pulls out this very small scroll and unrolls it, and he's looking at you and then reading down as he does so, and he nods and he says, "Yes, so far there has been 4 attacks, 4 different settlements. 3 of them have been entirely wiped out with a small handful of survivors. One of them, this Altad, seems to have not suffered as much. They were able to withstand, perhaps, the attack of the dragon. The information on the ground there is spotty, but it has certainly not been completely destroyed like the other 3.
There might be something different about this village, either military presence or something. What do you know about the elf? What do you know about the elves of that particular village?
Who's the leader?
There was a priest, I know, that was sort of the spiritual leader of that area. You can certainly check in with him when you get there. There is a warden in that location as well. Unfortunately, the change occurs there. It's pretty frequent. I'm not sure how familiar you are with elves and their way of organizing, but while they live very long lives, they don't tend to stick in positions for very long periods of time, at least not there in Misty Forest. The civilizations there, the elves, I guess you could say, lean more towards their chaotic nature than some other elves you may be familiar with. So there's frequent change in leadership positions, the way they do things. As far as what I know particularly about that settlement, like many of the other settlements in the area, it is primarily tree-bound, so it is multiple levels with rope bridges that connect tree to tree, and they build their homes up in those trees, and that allows them to be better defended against threats from the ground.
Do you understand what Spectre is saying, though, Dahlin? That outside of military presence in this village being full of strong warriors, that the other option is that somebody made a deal with this cult, potentially.
I don't know if I would suggest that, but it certainly is noteworthy that this village is different than...
Well, this would be the 4th village attacked, so I'm hoping that the king there in the Misty Forest has moved his assets around as he can, so if they had some advanced warning, perhaps there was a defense there. As I say, the exact details are spotty. The information that comes through is only as good as the messengers, the birds that we are able to get from there to here. And everybody, of course, in these kind of scenarios has a slightly different take on exactly what happened. That's why I need your eyes and ears on the ground there, so you can see for yourself, ascertain the truth, and then take action.
So we have walked into this situation before, and it's kind of given me shivers down my ear. So I'm a little suspicious about the relationship of the villagers and the Narendane Green Dragon person. But
yes, so I agree.
Can I pull out my map and can you point with your pointy fingers where the place is, and then we could figure out how to get there?
Yes, that is certainly doable. So as you will see, southeast of Daggerford is the Misty Forest. Altan itself, let's see, it is more towards the north center of the Misty Forest.
Oh, so it's kind of like a nice walk.
You see he kind of looks at you to see if you're joking or not. Well, it will require several days' travel, I am sure, unless you have special means at your disposal.
Well, that is the point of us asking for monies, was to fund such things like a teleport spell or something like that, so that we can get the job done quickly. So we are both in agreement to help in this situation. The more we have to get there quickly, maybe there's a mage who can teleport us, or they say Leroy said fast travel to Daggerford, and then that would expedite things greatly. It's not because we want to be rich and build castles. We want to get the job done quickly with efficient weapons and armor and teleportings.
With all due respect, Dahlin, your council moves pretty slow.
He nods. Well, understand, it is not my council, it is all of the factions' council, but I certainly cannot disagree with you on that.
So, our job is to travel to this village, find out all we can about what happened, potentially put a stop to these attacks. I get it, but we have to think about the other side of things here too. Let's say the worm speaker is there, hypothetically speaking. Are we capturing him and bringing him back? Are we killing him? What would be the council's preferred method of delivery, dead or alive?
So understand that this is not a victive coming from the council. This is me and the Emerald Enclave requesting your assistance. As far as what the council would like, it is hard to say. It depends on who is holding the speaker's chair at any particular moment. In general, I would say less permanent means are always best, in case they should change their mind. If you were able to capture this worm speaker and bring them back with you, well, that would be a serious blow to the cult, not to say what intelligence he may be able to bring back and what plans you may be able to learn from doing so. That would be a huge blow to the cult, but, of course, many of these situations, the individuals who are going to be captured don't want to be, and they may make it very difficult for you to do so. They may even kill themselves if they realize there's no way out. So I certainly would not say you must, with any means possible, bring this individual back to life, back here alive. You may not have that choice.
Okay. And then the next question is not as pretty, but if this village has made a deal with these cultists, are we getting rid of this village full of elves? That's on the menu?
No. Understand that you are walking a delicate balance here. As I said, I am a representative of the Emerald Enclave. The elves there have good relations with the Emerald Enclave, but the Misty Forest and its kingdoms and villages has their own laws, their own ruler. We do not have the authority to issue a destruction of a village based on what you should learn. If you learn something like that, an incriminating evidence, I ask that you bring it back to me. It is the truth words that you've been speaking to me so far, while perhaps not in the prettiest of tones, you've been very straight with me, so I will be straight with you as well. This kind of information, it does not necessarily always lead to direct action. If we can show that one of these villages was truly in league with this cult, then we would use that information to put pressure on the King of the Elves and hope that he would do things more beneficial for our overall efforts against the cult. Right now, the King of the Elves has not been, let's say, fully on our side. He's trying to maintain a presence of somewhat neutrality. He does not engage with the cult to our knowledge. He does not work with them, but he has not put resources to the war effort against the cult. If something like what you suggest is actually happening, we would try to use that information to persuade him that it's time to step up what he has provided.
We get it. Don't kill the elves. Help the elves. If we find out information about the elves, bring it to you. If we find out information about the worm speaker, take care of it using our best judgment. Right?
He nods. Yes, that is the sum and substance of what you need to do.
Anybody among us have any smarter questions than I?
So, do you mentioned some names? Did you guys write down our contacts? What, we just gotta walk up and say we're looking for so and so.
Once you arrive at Altad, I would ask to speak with the leadership there of the village. Any of the villagers should be able to direct you to who the leader is at this point. As I said, there is a priest and a warden that I am familiar with, but I do not know for sure if they survived this latest attack.
And I'm sorry, Spectre. One more question, and then I will go back to being silent. But do we drop your name or not?
Well, I suppose it would depend on the situation. If you think that it would be advantageous for you to do so, if you're having a hard time winning someone over, saying that you are undertaking this task on behalf of the Emerald Enclave may get you some leeway. I don't know necessarily that the common folk there would know my name, but if you make sure to let them know you are doing this on behalf of the Emerald Enclave, and in fact I can send along a small item that will show, essentially it is a symbol of the Emerald Enclave with you, like a badge. It doesn't itself have any authority associated with it, but the Emerald Enclave is known to use this badge to essentially just indicate that they are working on behalf of the Emerald Enclave. I could certainly provide that to you.
That would be fantastic. Thank you. Okay, I will go back to leaning on the wall.
Are there any other questions any of your teammates have before you are undertaking this task? Okay, if not, then I will assume that you are all set and you have what you need. I will get the 500 gold pieces, as I mentioned. Just give me an hour or so to track that down, and the badge, and I will deposit those with Dala. Does that work? Are you able to pick those up from her in about an hour or so?
Sure.
I think that'll work.
He nods. Excellent. Well, I certainly appreciate your prompt attention to this matter, and I wish you the best of luck. I have great faith in your abilities based on what Dala has explained.
Yes, when we come back, you'll see why our fee is so high.
And you notice he kind of winces once again. Well, again, perhaps we shouldn't use the word fee, but I will see what I can do.
Call it what you want, darling. We get shit done. We'll see you in an hour.
He nods.
And as we leave, I'll say to Rasmus, I think you keep using that word, like fees. Maybe they don't trust us if we keep using that word.
Do you want to die for free, Gail?
Well, the bottom line is that no matter what we do, Dala has been throwing money at us. We can't even spend money in Waterdeep. Would this be more of the, servant of the peoples, and then Dala will give us a bunch of money that we can spend on magic stuffs.
The only reason why Dollar gave us money last time was because Hugo milked it from her.
Well, I will say when this whole thing started, she did mention that she wouldn't be able to pay us some money for the service, because the council wouldn't allow it. I don't know how she got the money. I'm grateful she did.
Yes, well, it seems like we're the only one that gets things done, so, I'd much rather have us be well prepared, equipment paid for, swords sharpened, potions on our belts, bellies full, than us just help people for nothing. But that's just me.
It is not just you. I totally agree, but you could But anyway, I'm picking up what he's putting down.
Yeah, what Gail is saying in common is that I think we surprised them with that request.
Yeah, well, it looks like he's going to pay us both before and after, so yeah, it worked
All
out.
good.
So, look, I think Spectre was onto something. I mean, 4 villages attacked, 3 of which completely wiped out, 1 of which had survivors. Come on.
Exactly. We walked into this trap already.
It may be something different, though. It may be that I don't know if they could be in league with the dragon or whatever, but dragons also acquire hordes. It's possible that this village was protecting something they were looking for, and when they got it, they didn't need to level it anymore. It could be that, it could be what you were suggesting, but we're not going to know these kinds of details until we get there and start asking around.
I agree. So, I mean, should we wait for the fountain to get some juice back and then go to Daggerford and then go from there? Or should we just go ahead and take this hour to secure some horses and a cart and just leave on our own?
You remember that Daggerford was not one of the pools that you previously seen, so unless that's a new pool here from Waterdeep, that may not be an option.
So I do wonder if we take a look at the pool, but our smart person is still getting massages from the massage lady. I guess she's lingering, so he's not around to look at the pool.
Well,
the voice in the sky suggested it might take a week for the pool to recharge, and we're about, looks like 100-ish, 120 miles from Daggerford. We could probably get there faster.
we gotta get to the road first and then go down. So
that's why I said ish.
And he said what, the northern part of the forest, so somewhere along here.
Yeah, northern central.
Right under the letter O.
Last time, then we get a horse, a cart, a driver, and take off, or we could buy 6 horses and just go ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know if my master is going to be as forthcoming with hired help this time since we lost the last one, but...
Yeah. I mean, we can buy 6 horses. It's no big deal. It would assist our travel. We'd have to buy feed, and that would be, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks of travel. It's doable. Or we could just walk.
Oh, it's not that far compared to our last journey.
Yeah,
horses would be good. It would help us if we wanted to maybe get away from something. They run faster than we do, but they're not going to speed our travel overall.
Are all of us trained in animal husbandry?
I have a feeling that they're not going to have a horse my size anyway.
They might have some kind of like pygmy.
I've been riding horses since a young lad, so I'll be fine.
I don't think you need animal handling to ride a domesticated trail horse.
Perhaps, but if we were to, say, get into a fight on the road
Yes,
and the horses panic, it might throw you off and run off with all your stuff strapped to its back, so...
And that would make me turn summer laddered.
Actually, I believe, based on what I'm seeing here, a riding horse, if not pulling a cart, but the riding horse itself will go 48 miles in 8 hours. So that's almost double what we would do on foot.
And we
I don't know if that's right, but...
We need to buy the barding stuff too. But yeah, let's do it. I like individual horses. Fine.
So the basic idea with mounts, unless you have like a special mount, is that while they move faster at slow or at short bits of time, they don't over long periods of time. So when you look at a riding horse and say, oh, well, it has a 60-foot move speed, right? That would be double what a person walks, but that's considered moving quickly, right? So that's exhausting to them if they had to do that over a long period of time.
You guys' call, I mean, doesn't matter to me either way. I've got hooves, so either way, I'm taking the path by hooves.
Well, I'm thinking maybe we should have a cart of some sort, and maybe a couple horses like we did before. Sure, the last time, let's be honest, didn't really work out the way we expected, but, it still looks like a good option.
Plus, if we really do have to capture this green worm speaker, then we probably should have him in a cart to transport. I don't know if he's going to be there, but I've got a feeling if they've got a giant green dragon trouncing around, we're probably going to run into something or another.
I do like being hidden, that's true.
We should also consider that the elves are reclusive and tree-dwelling people, so I'm not sure how feasible it would be to get a cart through the misty forest. I don't think there's probably not too many roads in and out. There could be, but for the purposes of like trading with nearby settlements or something, but I'm not sure.
Why don't we
No,
just
no.
hire a cab and go to Daggerford on a bus, and then we huff it from there, on our feet?
I'm sure you're right, because I'm sure there's plenty of different trade routes going.
Probably. From Waterdeep, we could definitely catch a ride to Daggerford.
Yes, but do you really want to ride on a caravan with other people where we cannot discuss our current mission for 2 weeks?
What is there to
Doesn't sound fun.
What is there more to discuss until we get there?
I don't know. But I don't want to hear no child crying while I'm trying to enjoy my ride. And also, I like to smoke.
Well, then why are we traveling with... never mind.
Fine. I don't mind getting horses. We get individual horses. Sounds good to me. I will buy one and get one with a nice saddle.
Well, I think Kurtu may be onto something. I mean, we could get the cart down there, and Inspector's right. I doubt that we would be able to move the cart through the forest, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't, perhaps.
Deal what? Yeah.
What?
Yeah, or leave it.
Yeah, we leave it. It's going to... Yeah,
Deal one, but I just saying, maybe.
Well, it'll be stolen by the time we get back, so that's just waste.
Yeah, and just
eaten by trolls.
Just goofing around.
Eviscerated by firewalls and cones of cold.
And I'll just throw this out there, because again, living in this world, some of you guys probably would consider this. You're in Waterdeep, which is a port town. You could certainly take a boat to the river and the river to Daggerford if you wished.
I fucking hate water travel. You get knocked off, you're fucked.
Could happen, yeah.
Can Hugo make a history check to know how wide the river is to the north of Misty Forest? Above
Hugo's
the Owen
still not here, Gale. Pay attention.
He's
I
still
would say
getting...
based on your map and you're looking at it, it's certainly wide enough to accommodate larger vessels.
And Delon said the village's name is Altan?
Altan.
Altan. And he pointed it out on Gale's map.
He did, yes. It's like in the north central area of the Misty Forest.
Okay.
Well, why do we take a boat? I think that's a great idea.
Okay, but if there's any more hydras, you're volunteering to go up front. Right?
Those are only inland, right?
We can do that. We can take a boat. That sounds fine. But I'm just pointing this out. Land is always safer than sea, because you can't run away, really, by sea.
Yeah, I agree with Rasmus, but it would... I think a boat would be faster, right?
If you get the appropriate boat, yes, it would be much faster.
Depends on how urgent we think this is, I suppose.
Well, we should get there as quick as possible. I mean, if they survived an attack, we want the information to be as fresh as possible when we speak to them. It does not matter which we travel by, but we must think about it in terms of longevity, right? Like, if we take a boat down, that's fine, but I don't know if we'll be able to take a boat back, right? So we'll still have to hoof it. And if we have to hoof it with a prisoner, that's a long walk, potentially, in front of people. I think the horse and carriage idea still might be our best bet. I mean, we move at the same pace, we can have some privacy, and if we ever need to capture someone, we have a way of transporting them.
Where did your friend end up? Was it in Daggerford or Dragonspear? They're both D names.
What friend are you talking about?
The vanilla
your best
smelling
friend. Your best friend.
Oh, he's down by Dragon Spear, by the garrison by Dragon Spear.
Oh damn! I was gonna suggest maybe he could hold on to our cart, but if he's not there, then yeah. His family's there though, right? That's where we picked him up.
Well, he was running from his family in Daggerford, yes, I believe.
So, we tell his family where he went. Maybe they owe us a favor. They can keep our cart for us in Jaggerford. We do our thing. We come back. We have our
on foot from Daggerford to Alton. That sounds reasonable. Sounds good. We buy 2 horses and a carriage, and we don't need a driver. I can drive it. I'm sure. I watched him the whole time last time. It's not hard.
Okay, horse and carriage sounds good.
All right, so safe to assume you guys are going to head to the markets here in Waterdeep and try to acquire those things, and then after an hour or so, head back to the bureaucratic offices?
So we get our badge of honor from the Emerald Enclave.
Yeah, I don't really know if we need that 500 gold to buy anything right away. Like, I can afford the horses and the carriage now, but it would be nice to still make 500 gold.
no objections.
Yeah, and I do think that we could use that coins to get some antitoxins or whatever.
Yeah, I've got 2. I know Harmony bought 2 as well. So I don't know if you guys want to buy any as in addition, but that's 4 total.
Yeah,
I think we should be okay. I mean, that's a lot. I hope we don't get poisoned that much.
We should have at least 1 each, I think.
Truth.
I have 2. I have 5 healing potions, 2 antitoxins, 1 pair of manacles, and 1 bag of ball bearings. For some reason, it was a good price.
So that's 6. So that means that we can.
Yeah, she bought 5 antitoxins because she got 5 because she already had 1. Yep.
So then that means that in grand total we've got about 12 antitoxins amongst the party, so that should be fine. And then I know Kurtu bought healing potions, Gale bought healing potions, Hugo bought healing potions, I bought healing potions, so we should be good on purchasing stuff. So I think it's probably just buying the carriage and the horses, right?
Yeah, we need a covered carriage. Yep.
And then we should buy some horse feed and buy maybe a barrel of water again and some rations.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, doing some quick calculations here. 2 riding horses would be 150 gold pieces, and then a carriage will cost you 100, so that's 250. Feed is 5 copper a day. Spend, say, 10 gold, and we'll assume you've got enough for the way there and back. Easy peasy. Barrel of water, we'll say, is included in that.
Okay, so grand total 160. I can do that. 260. Got it. I'll take care of that.
Okay, and how are we doing on rations across the whole team?
I have 15 on my person. How long do you think it is? I map the fingers, Adam, on the map.
If we do, it's 23 miles per day, right? And so we're looking at roughly somewhere in the range of 250, 260. So, so about 2 weeks.
10 days, right?
I'd say more on the 14, 15 day side.
Although there are 10 days. I think what he means is that Faerun uses 10 days. So
oh, I got you. You were talking more lore.
A 10 day and a half.
You're killing my immersion.
My bad. When the math comes out, I start thinking less than immersion. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe if there's 6 of us, if we had 65, 70 rations total, that should last everybody in the party.
Yeah, I just refreshed, bought 12. I don't remember the last time I bought some, so I just did that to make it easy.
We can buy more in Daggerford too if we're running short. Surely.
Yes, and I bought block and tackle so I can fish also.
Yeah, that worked out well last time.
Yeah, we didn't have any block and tackle though.
Yeah, that's true. That would make the difference.
We had mage hand and everything.
Yeah, and I was fishing with a javelin. Yeah, and Harmony has good berry too, so we should be good on food. And then we got a barrel of water as well, so that should be fine. Yep. Okay. So that should be good.
Off to Daggerford.
I think it's Spectre and Kurtu's turn to name our horses.
We don't name our horses.
We do name them.
It's good luck.
It
Jeb.
is
I don't know which one will be Jeb, but one will be Jeb.
Jeb. Okay.
Jeb the
Spectre.
horse.
Do we still have Harmony's chicken, or did that die in the explosions? This is
That's
very
a good
important.
question.
Depends on where breakfast was at when the cone of cold hit the carriage, but I assume the chicken probably didn't make it.
Frozen chicken.
It was good for a week after that.
Okay,
All right.
so other than acquiring those things and then beginning your trip there, is there anything else anybody's wanting to accomplish?
Doing some PHP shopping real quick, but
Yep.
Well,
you can
no,
feel free to do that.
I would like to look at the fountain and see if we could see other cities that may be different from the Waterdeep one.
maybe they got
Sure.
Altan in there.
Not so lucky, but once you get back there and you look towards the fountain, you can see that it's still not recharged at this point, so none of the pools actually display.
The stupid thing's broken.
No, it just needs time. It's okay. We'll take our nice carriage and enjoy our ride.
All right, so you guys begin acquiring all of these things. It takes you probably a little more than an hour to find the shopkeepers, maybe do a little bit of haggling to make sure you're getting the fair prices, acquiring all of the different things, loading it all up. Once you do, I'm assuming your plan is to head back to the bureaucratic offices, pick up your payment and badge, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys are able to do that without much fuss. Dala explains to you that she says that Dalan looked into the possibility of some kind of teleportation magic, and he said that unfortunately it would cost more than what he gave you for this stipend. But if it's something that you're interested in, there is a name written down of a local wizard who may be able to teleport you closer to Altan. Not necessarily right there, but probably a larger city close by.
Do you have your receipts for the carriage and the horses?
We can just leave it and pick it up next time if we need to, but I mean, we have 6,391 gold left on the writ.
Yeah, we should definitely be saying that out here on the streets.
Yeah, we should also.
I wish somebody would come and try to take it. I will beat you all up.
But also, we should make it official. I don't know if we said that we're going to go to the bank and make sure everybody's name on it, for
For Hugo and Harmony, in case they're the sole survivors of this mission.
Yeah.
Yep, feel free to type that in chat, and then we will assume that you guys took care of that as well.
You're such a good leader, Kurtu, to think of them while they're not here.
Well, I mean, I know I'm going to survive because I'm a survivor. I don't know about you guys.
Against all odds.
Against all being the caster on the way back.
He doesn't know about our guys? Is that what he said?
Yeah,
everybody.
something like that.
I've split up our gold. It's 83 gold pieces each from the stipend and 3 silver pieces. Do not spend it all in one place, or do. I don't give a fuck. Here.
Well, am I taking... What is 500 gold pieces divided by 6?
Yeah, that's what I gave you. 83. 3 silver pieces. Here.
Oh, I don't have to do math. Thank you.
So just for clarity, where's that money coming from?
That was the 500 that we got from Delon for the. He's paying us before we go down.
Right, but I'm talking about the 3,500. Oh, for the gems. Sorry. Okay, Okay.
Yep. Yeah, make sure everybody has that. That's 583 gold pieces each that everybody can add, plus this 83 here. So make sure you have added all of your gold from all of our selling.
I think we divvied up the gems last time, no?
Yeah, just in case you didn't add it, be sure you did.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my sheet, and I just already have a lot of gold and every platinum on it, so I'm just thinking I already did some math. So
No, we
Yeah,
made a lot of.
that's a good problem to have, is having too much money.
Yeah.
yeah, but I
and
don't want to have it all on me, right? So I'm thinking
no,
about yeah.
I've been splitting it, so yeah, and then based on whatever you've been buying. So feel free to be a little bit more frugal with your cash, Bill. Buy the
No,
souvenir cup.
I'm just thinking about where more to put it, right? I think I'm gonna go ahead and Adam, I'm just gonna put it on my character sheet that I put it into a writ in the bank and gave
You don't
these
want to
guys.
look for any like ETFs or long-term investment funds here in Waterdeep where you can deposit back in?
That's the
The
Well,
problem.
I've
water.
seen my own personal investments, and I had a rough year, so I don't know. I'm thinking maybe just a small short term, right? So
You're not gonna. Oh,
a B and
Waterdeep
B.
commemorative mug.
Come stay
I'll
at
put it.
Kurtu's, free eggs in the morning.
Kurtu doesn't give out free eggs to anyone but Kurtu.
I'll
It's the
buy some of
worst
those. I'll
B&B
buy some
ever.
chickens.
It's really clean, but it's really hard to get food at Kurtu's B&B.
Yeah, but Adam, I'm gonna go ahead and do a writ for some cash, right? But I will go ahead and put these guys of alternates in case Kurtu, has a bad day.
Okay, sure. So if you want a writ for a certain amount of coin, they would charge you, say, 1% of the total amount for the writ. So for example, if you want a 100 gold piece writ, you would deduct 1 gold piece, it would be a 99 gold piece writ. Or obviously you can pay 101 and call it a 100 gold piece writ.
Okay, I'll do some finagling and I'll put it in my inventory kind of thing. So.
Okay, that works. Yeah, I'll trust you guys to manage that as you do.
So Dylan, can you add to our? So we're at the bank. I want to contribute my funds to the total. So
And just
yeah,
type in the treasure distribution what you want to add to the writ,
Okay, I'll do
and
that too.
I'll add it to our group writ.
all right, here it goes.
And then Adam, can we say that we're walking over to this name that Delon gave us so we can talk about the teleportation, see what kind of price we're looking at?
You can, yes, yep. So with this information that you receive from Dala, you make your way out of bureaucratic area and head over to what looks to be more of a upscale area here of Waterdeep. So think of this as much fancier homes, slate kind of roofs. You notice that there is a different smell even in this area. It's much more of a clean type of a smell. You see a lot of plants, more growth, that kind of deal. You notice that there is a shop somewhat nearby here. It is very small and kind of quaint, but you can see it says Alexander's on the sign here right in front of the shop.
Is that the same fucking guy? There's no way, right?
Could be a franchise.
The franchise, that's what I was gonna ask.
Assuming you guys make your way on in, you are not surprised to see that it's not the Alexander you're familiar with, but you do notice that there is a gentleman standing behind the counter here. You see as you step on in, he looks up and gives you a slight smile. Oh, welcome to Alexander's. Might I suppose that you are this group that I just heard about who are interested in teleportation services?
We are. How much does it cost? Fancy talking man.
Just the 4 of you then.
We have
well,
2 more. We have 2 more that will join us later that will need you to teleport at a later time. So why don't you give us the price for 4 now, 2 later?
Oh, well, okay, certainly. Well, let's see. To get the 4 of you, is Daggerford suitable? It seemed to the contact that I spoke with, and you see he's kind of struggling with this anonymity thing. suggested that Daggerford would be suitable.
Yeah, that works.
For now, I could get the 4 of you there through teleportation for 1,000 gold pieces, and 2 later, well, that's a little bit more challenging, but let's call it 2,000 for all 6 of you, 4 of you now, 2 at a later time.
What if we just bring them with us and leave them in Daggerford until their stomach issues are settled? Surely we can find them if we look around Waterdeep a bit. That would streamline this process a little bit, no?
If you're able to get everybody together at the same time, I could do it for 1,500.
Sure.
What do you think?
That
Yeah,
works
let's
for me.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's funny, before we couldn't afford freaking food. Now we're sitting going teleportation spells. We're really coming up in life.
Do you take a writ?
He inclines his head, but of course.
Sure. Then we have this writ here. We'll gather our other 2 members, and we'll take that travel. Yes.
Okay, and so we will assume you're able to scoop up both Hugo and Armony. Armony finally caught that butterfly bee thing somewhere, but let it go, and then forgot where it was, but she's ready to go. And then, Hugo, maybe he's kind of like not looking the best, but he's willing to go through this teleportation.
I thought he was getting massages.
I've heard mixed stories, so I'm just going with whatever the last person said.
So do we still need the cart then? Or... because that would also cost money to transport, I would think.
And the horses would be, yes.
Yeah, what are we doing about that?
We could get carts and horses when we're there.
Rasmus has his receipt. He's going to return them.
How much extra would it be to transport 2 horses and a cart, Wizard Man?
It would be an extra 750 gold.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Well, what
That's
for?
cheap.
What do we need it for?
Like I said, Jordan, or Spectre, if we have to bring someone back with us unwillingly, you should do so undercover. Yes?
Yeah, fine.
But we could get a cart while we're there, and horses.
Yeah, that's also true. It's probably cheaper.
It's not a small town.
Remind me how big Daggerford is? It's obviously not as big as Waterdeep, but we could find horses and carts, right?
You're pretty sure, yes.
Okay, so get your receipts. We'll do our shopping there if it becomes necessary.
It's a lot cheaper than 750 gold pieces.
You guys are frugal in-game with make-believe money. It is ridiculous.
Look, I gotta live the fantasy, okay? I'm never gonna have money in my real life, so I got
Yeah, and next adventure, Adam's going to actually have a magical item that everyone's going to be like, "Wow, that is great," and it's like 10,000 gold pieces, you know. So it's
Look,
like,
look, Adam. I'm gonna, despite what they say, I'm gonna pay for it myself. I'll pay for the
Why would we do that when we can
Pay
To
just...
for
save
what
time.
specifically?
to just save time. I'm gonna pay for the cart. That way we get there with our cart, and then we just take off. Boom, right into the night.
He's more than happy to do that for you, so if you hand over the coin or the writ now, he will do the process of deducting the appropriate amount. So let's see, it was an extra 750, 1,500 for you guys, so 2,250. Sounds like what you're dropping.
Yep. So I did the group total out of the writ, and then I just deducted 72 platinum and 300 gold from mine for the horses in the carriage. So we should be good.
Yeah, not 300 gold, but
Yeah, it was 750. Oh, 30 gold. My bad.
yeah.
I'll trust you to do the calculations, but yes, assuming that you have deducted that and he has gotten his money appropriately, he will make his way outside and
Wait,
see-
can I stop him real quick? I'm
Sure.
sorry, Adam. It's a guy. So, do you have a way? Do you sell stuff so that we could communicate to maybe our friends here in Waterdeep while we're on vacation at Daggerford?
I don't have those specific items, but I have a partner, I suppose you could say, who deals in those kind of things. I assume you're referring to sending stones?
Yes, that's what Leroy called it.
Well, I'm sure I could get some sending stones for you, but you realize that they don't just work all the time. They are somewhat limited, right?
Yeah, and he tries to pretend like he knows.
They work once a day, Gail. 25 words.
Yes, I know that. Brian knows that, but Gail doesn't know that. 25 words.
How
Yeah, I don't
many
think we
would
need
you,
those.
How many would you like?
Well, one for the person that's here and that we could tell them how our vacation is, and then one for not me. It's one of our parties. So 2.
So just a single pair of sending stones?
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Pair.
He nods to you. Well, if you're willing to spend, say, 600 gold pieces, I'm sure I could get that to you very quickly.
What do you think, Rasmus?
I'm thinking, why do you need these sending stones? Who are we talking to?
Fine. We go on. Let's go.
Wait,
You
well,
guys
I mean,
you guys really aren't picking up what I'm putting down here.
no. Tell us what you're saying. Please tell us just outright what you're trying to say,
I think
Gil.
he's trying to say you give one to the 2 characters that are not going to be actively with you, and then you'd be able to let them know as soon as they're ready to go?
What I was thinking was, and I'm going to step out of the the place and explain, wouldn't it be nice when we had, where we found out that, what's his name, the worm guy, we could talk to your friend Dala and tell her what we're finding, and maybe she has information in 25 words the next day about what she heard from the council, and that we would have a way of communicating to our patron, Dala.
It would also let her act more quickly on the information we're able to provide her, rather than waiting for us to return, which could take weeks in this case.
Well, I mean, I guess, but the only thing that I can think of about that is that I don't see Dala is trusting our judgment, right? So
But-
anything we ask her, right? We say, hey, this is what we found. She would go, okay, give me 2 to 3 weeks to talk to the council and get back. I don't think it would be an overnight decision. You know what I mean? It's
but
not like she's head honcho.
Well, it depends on how catastrophic the things we learn are. If
Yes,
for
that's
example,
true.
we capture Nerenvain and he says, "Oh yeah, by the way, in 2 days' time, we're gonna dogpile Waterdeep with like 60 dragons." Like they would probably want to know that.
For $600, it's worth it to tell our friend Waterdeep that if we learn something eminent, or she reaches out to us and says she overheard at the water cooler during the birthday party at the bureaucratic offices. Some overheard them talking about something, and then she could sneak away into her crib and tell us.
I mean, sure. If you want to spend that money, it
How is
doesn't.
this a bad idea? Isn't this a good idea? Communication, information.
I mean, yeah, but you're assuming that the person that we're talking to is the one able to make decisions. She is not.
But she could
she's
tell
not even
us.
on the council herself.
But
you understand?
I do understand that. But she's in the know.
Kind of. But I mean, look, like I said, you guys are frugal with your money. I could care less about spending the gold.
Well,
I'm just saying that maybe we don't give it to her, we give it to Darlin instead, who's our emissary for this particular exchange, right?
Well,
and he's actually on the council.
Well, that's a good. Is he on the council?
He's not part of the Emerald He's part of the Emerald Enclave, which is part of the council. Yes, he's closer than Dala is.
But he's not on the council, just to be clear. He's not sitting in that room. So, but I think this is a better use.
If he's the emissary for the Emerald Enclave, then he is sitting in on those.
He is the ambassador for the Emerald Enclave, so he's basically in the chair for the Emerald Enclave, unless there's some reason they need to pull him back and place somebody else.
Oh,
Obviously,
yeah.
There's agents that kind of move in different circles like that. But yes, currently he does represent the Emerald Enclave in the council.
Okay, I'm just laughing because you could have returned your horses and then not spend 750 gold. But here's actually something that would be useful for us to Dalin or Dala, Dalin. I agree with that. And we're arguing for $600. Let's just buy it.
No. I wasn't arguing about purchasing it. I was just saying that the person that you're trying to give it to doesn't make any sense because she can't really do anything. But giving it to Dalin is better.
Let's give it to Dala. That. I only have the ideas. I write it on the whiteboard. They're not all good ideas, and then you guys figure out the best implementation of the ideas.
All right, so if you guys wish to deduct 600 gold pieces, we can assume that you have a sending stone, and you've given the other one to Dalan of the Emerald Enclave.
Perfect. And Gail, do you want to be responsible for it then?
No, I do not. I do not. Although I'll no.
I don't know. Your idea, your responsibility sounds pretty accurate.
It would help you practice your kana.
Fine, I will take it. Is it heavy?
No, it's a rock.
Oh, well, I don't know. I've never seen
Rocks can be heavy.
It's a handheld rock. It's like the size of a
Rocky-talkie.
Yes, that's perfect.
Rocky Talkie.
That is, of course, what they are commonly known as here in the Sword Coast.
Yeah, so it's literally like the size of just think of a good handheld rock.
Okay,
like
so
a baseball.
I will have it, and I will try to limit my words to 25 words and not stutter.
Or write your words down before you speak them. How about that?
Okay, sounds good. I have Sending Stone in my character
Yeah,
sheet that goes to Daleen. Okay, fine.
All right, with all of those preparations complete, you'll notice this gentleman has a bag of this powdered dust, and he makes a wide circle around all of you, keeps nudging you to make sure that you're inside of the circle. He powders this dust around the cart and around all of you, making a complete circle. With this done, you see he kind of slaps his hands together to clean off any remnants of this dust, and then he begins chanting some arcane words here. And as he does so, you can feel like a strange sensation sort of around you, as though there's like electricity running through your bodies. And eventually you see he points towards this dust, and it starts to light in a rainbow-like color. It spreads almost like fire around the entire dust until the entire circle now has this color, and you can see the sides actually raise almost like a wall. And it looks like a prismatic wall, in fact. And as the wall is complete, it goes over top of all of you. It creates sort of a dome where you're completely encapsulated inside this artifice. And within moments, you find yourself blinking as you look and see that the village or town of Daggerford is not too far away from you, perhaps just 300 feet or so.
I'll never get used to that feeling. It's like someone grabs you with a hook and pulls you to the side quickly.
It's a little nauseating, I agree.
I've always got to poop after.
Hugo and Armony quickly retire to the inside of the carriage, not feeling very talkative.
I'm driving it, Adam. I don't know where everybody else is, but I've got a +6 to animal handling for some reason, so I'll take over driving.
That'll certainly help a bit. A land vehicle tool would also be beneficial in case something crazy happens.
Yeah, has anybody got that? Did anybody take folk hero?
Let's see. No, I am a far traveler.
Yeah, Kurtu, what'd you take? What's your background?
I too am a far traveler.
I see.
You guys are living up to that name. You've traveled quite far so far.
Travel, travel, travel. It's the nature of adventuring.
I will sit next to Rasmus.
I
at
am
the top.
also a far traveler.
Are you serious? Oh, jeez. Should be called
worry,
We're Not From Around Here party.
Well,
worry
let's
about
be
it.
honest. I was the original far traveler.
That is
I'm
true.
not a far traveler. I'm a fucking murderer.
But funnily enough, you probably are the person that's traveled the farthest from your starting area to here.
Truth.
I mean, Rasmus is from the. These two are from the Feywild, so I don't know.
Parallel
that
planes, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, parallel.
Truth.
Where I'm from is actually directly over Daggerford. How about that?
All right, so give me an idea. You guys know that this is like north central Misty Forest. So for reference, as far as a general idea, you assume it's like approximately here. So with that in mind, do you have a certain path that you want to take to get there?
Could you put us a little flag? Can we draw like something there, Adam?
Don't draw a dick. He doesn't like that.
I was not about to draw nothing.
Just
I
making
remember
sure
that.
I keep my stuff consistent here.
Yeah. I'm thinking, traveling right directly through the forest is probably not a good idea. However, it may be able to pick up some information. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you run into elves, but I
Well,
mean,
maybe if we see one of the villages that was decimated, you know what I mean? So do we want to come
maybe.
in from like this angle from the like that?
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be easiest to follow the road until we get around like these hills at least, and
Oh
then
yeah, I didn't see those.
yeah.
So pass the hills and then take a hard eastern turn right into this little crook, and then just a short little. Maybe we can leave the cart in this area here and then go in.
Yeah, surely nothing bad will happen to it.
Yeah, well,
That sounds like a good plan.
fearless leader, you agree?
As long as we get where we need to go.
Alright, so unless somebody speaks up, I'm going to move you guys into ultra fast moving mode here momentarily. Okay.
I am teaching him Draconic.
Feel free to track days once again. Alright guys, so with the path laid out before you, you guys make it 2 days of traveling or so, and find this uneventful for the most part. Occasionally you will see travelers moving down the road. Nothing out of the ordinary here, as travelers move along the tradeway pretty frequently. You guys have done this for a couple of days now, and I don't know where we left off, so I'm just going to randomly pick.
Hey, I haven't gone in a long time. Can I do it?
Sure, yeah, give me a D100, please.
Don't roll a 100.
No, I'm gonna roll a 99.
Hold shot. Let's see it.
It says rolling the dice. Looks like it's taking a second. 15.
A nice round number.
Okay, so as you guys are traveling down this area, you notice that the hills in this location have primarily been to your east. However, as you're moving through this little narrow area, I'm going to move this out of the way, you're actually going through the hills. Mostly the path of the tradeway here is fairly wide, but you do come to a couple of areas where it gets fairly narrow. At one of these locations where it's getting fairly narrow, as you're moving along the tradeway, you all can hear a strange sound of like rocks descending down from the nearby hills. As that occurs, you're doing a quick check of where everybody is at. Rasmus, you're driving. Our two, incapacitated characters are inside for the moment. Spectre,
It looks like Libby's with us, by the way, Adam.
Oh, okay.
Just
excellent.
real quick.
All right, so Spectre, Gale, and Spectre, Gale, Kurtu. Where is it that you are on the cart?
I'm sitting next to Rasmus without my shield on my arm because apparently that hurts.
Realism of achieved. All right.
I'll be on top of the cart this time. I think without our driver, she wants a better perspective.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I'm
Kurtu,
just right.
Same kind of cart, right? The one.
I'm assuming you guys got a similar style. Yeah.
Yep. It's got like that upper level, like where I was sitting last time. I assume that's where like all of our horse feed and like our barrel is.
I'm living in the life of luxury on this wagon, just in the center, where most of the seats are.
So sitting inside, not on top, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we've got 3 folks on top then. The 3 of you, as you hear the sound of these rocks kind of descending, you start looking around to try to see if there's anything out of the ordinary at this point. However, during this time, a sheep falls off of the nearby cliff, sails through the air, and plummets, landing right onto...
Oh,
going
great.
left
Here
to
we
right.
go.
I'm adding a 4 in here. If 4 is rolled, it means it lands on the cart, not on one of you. 2, so that's going to be Rasmus. Rasmus, as this sheep just lands into you, now think of this as being like a 150-pound animal falling, free falling, and smacking into you. that normally would help, except this random counter literally says there is no dexterity save for this as everyone is too busy disbelieving it to move.
That's true. It would be like, is that the sheep? Oh my god!
I'm gonna try to catch it.
As the sheep slams into you, you suffer 15 points of bludgeoning damage, Rasmus.
Goodness.
Knocks you prone, so maybe even off the cart or on the edge, something along those lines. As this occurs, you notice the sheep, surprisingly, doesn't seem to be hurt by this, and it gets up immediately and leaps off of the cart back to the path and starts leaving quickly. Now, if there's something one of you guys wants to do immediately, you might be able to, but this sheep is booking it.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I doubt that the sheep is faster than me. I'm gonna run it down and grab it after it just belly flopped me. I'm gonna see if Libby can talk to it. Otherwise, we're gonna eat it.
All right, so you get knocked like really hard. You get knocked sort of to the ground. It's definitely got a lead on you, but you're pretty quick. So give me a blind check here as you gather your wits and then try to get to your feet and take off after it.
Wait a minute, just so I understand, is the sheep... Do we get the impression that the sheep is running away from something? Like, it's booking it.
Like, after it landed, you get the impression that sort of like this...
It didn't expect us to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's shocked. And once it hit, you guys are like trying to get to safety in a sense.
Okay, so I don't think it's being chased by like a giant or something.
That doesn't immediately come to mind, no.
Okay.
I threw a hero point onto my sheep catching check.
Great use of it. Bro.
All right, so I will add that to... So what I'm doing here is an athletics check to see how well you do over like a long sprint here. So you're chasing after the sheep. You are kind of shocked to see how fast it is. Almost abnormally fast. It is moving. You're gaining ground on it, but you notice as it's getting a distance away on the path, it's turning into more of the hills, and it's starting to do this like jump hop on these very narrow ledges of the hills themselves that when you look at, you think, oh, that would be nearly impossible to stand there. And this thing is just like bouncing up at a very rapid pace. Do you continue chasing?
Take the Rasmus.
What's the distance between me and the sheep?
Right now, as you see it start going up the side of these mountains, I would put it at about 80 feet.
Damn, it's a fast-ass sheep.
It is, yes, unnaturally fast, I would say.
Get your ass back here. We got elves to find.
I got 5 javelins. I'm gonna launch one. It's out of range, but I'm gonna launch it. Disadvantage, right, Adam?
It would be disadvantage, yes.
Damn it.
All right, so you break out your javelin, you try to aim it when you see it jumping, and you throw it, and you see that it jumps, and your javelin hits the side, cracks, and kind of starts rattling down the side of the mountain here.
All right, I turn around and I walk back to the cart. Stupid sheep.
As you turn around and start making your way back to the cart, you just hear an echoing, bah! You make it back to the cart.
Well, I don't know about that. Do we say we wait for him?
I'm driving, so...
He took the keys with him.
Damn it.
I undid one of the reins when I jumped off, so you gotta...
All right.
I forgot that I took Totem of the Bear, the Totem Barbarian, so I actually have Speak with Beasts or Speak with Animals myself, so I could have talked to it.
I think you have to use it to like cast it, right?
Yeah, it has to be I would have had to catch it and then ritually cast it.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I do have the ability.
He has to use it. I see what you did there.
Oh my fucking god.
He did it, not me.
Pronunciation joke, like it. All right, so I'm assuming you making your way back to the cart. You guys just kind of shake this strange situation off and continue making your way towards Altand?
Yes. Crazy sheep.
All right, so that was day 2 of the journey. You continue traveling, get past the hills, and start making your way to the east. So it's going to take you, we'll say, 2 more days of travel. So 2 additional days pass by. You find yourself making really good progress here. And since we've got Armony with us now, Armony, go ahead and roll a D100, please.
Can we do a mic check, Libby? Because I saw you light up, but I didn't hear anything.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
There you are.
There she is. Stupid sheep.
I think my internet connection's not great, so there's a little bit of a lag.
Oh, no worries. Roll20 always has a little bit of a lag, so don't worry about that. Okay, so with this roll, as you guys continue making your way in this direction, you're getting to the point after these 2 additional days of travel where you can see the forest is, obviously in front of you. The paths in this direction are starting to become more narrow. There's more rolling hills. There's more of like ravines here. And as you're going into one of these areas, think of this as sort of like a dip, and you start taking it, and as you're traveling, you start to realize you're almost on like a track, for lack of a better word, and on both sides of you, the hill is risen. So you're making really good progress. This seems to be like right on line to where you believe Altan to be, but you don't have a lot of room to move side to side here. There might be 5 feet on either side of the cart. Otherwise, it's pretty hefty incline in both directions. So maneuverability is a little bit suspect here. And that's unfortunate because what you notice off in the distance as you're realizing this is there is the corpse of a very large elk that seems to be lying right in your way.
Can I do an insight check to see if maybe the sheep pushed him into our way?
You're pretty sure that's not the case.
I'm gonna halt the cart at him and get the horses to slow up.
Okay, you're able to do so.
How high are the hills on either side of us? Does it look like we could maybe like drag this thing up them, or is there like no footing?
You could, but it would probably take you like 30 minutes a detour to kind of turn the horses, pull them up a bit, reorient yourself. So it's certainly doable, but yeah, it'd just be a little bit of an inconvenience.
Well, I don't mean going around it. I mean stopping the cart, getting out, moving the corpse, right?
Oh, going to the cart? Yeah, you think, again, it's very large, but if some of the stronger members of your team were to work together, you think you could drag it?
Wait, so
Don't we just eat it? I mean, it's free meat.
I grab my shield, I find it. Oh, here it is. I put it on, and I say, "This is obviously a trap. Look around you."
Yeah, remember the last time you went and investigated a dead body?
Yes, but I also remember the 300 other times that I went and investigated a dead body and nothing happened. But look, we should first of all we should see how old the meat is. If it's eatable, then we just butcher it right here and now, toss the skeleton off to the side, and then it'd be substantially easier to just put all the meat onto the cart and then take off.
So wait, let me get the reasoning correct. That somebody killed this elk, and rather than to eat it, left all this nice meat for whoever wants to have it for free. And we don't think this is a trap with the hills around us.
Well, animals die on their own sometimes,
We'll go have a look then. I will stay here.
Okay, I can go look.
So as you exit the cart here, Kurtu, from 10 feet back, right when you're exiting and start taking a couple of steps before you even get to where you're going and trying to look around, you hear this faint comical sound of gas escaping from the corpse.
I'm gonna eat that at all because they're making some noise out of the freaking cow.
Yeah, that was gross.
I'll
Adam, can we see?
Good sign. Corpses aren't supposed to do that unless they just died.
Well, I mean, everybody poops when they die. Spectre, you know this. It's your body's first reaction.
That's why I said unless it just died. So whatever killed it.
Well, look, do you want me to go investigate or not?
I mean, one way or another, we're going through. There's no other way to get the cart around.
gonna jump off the front of the wagon at him over the horses, and land in front of the cart, and start walking towards it. And I'll go ahead and draw my battle axe because being around these folks have got me all jumpy.
Okay,
Now I feel like I'm getting ambushed.
while he does that, I will pound on the wagon and tell the peoples inside, we've stopped. There's a corpse up here. Kurtu, do you have your magic armor on? And then as you walk away.
All right, so Rasmus, as you're approaching this, you notice some movement pretty quickly, and you're able to like look carefully, and you see a few different sets of wings from in front of this giant elk that are sort of jittering a little bit. You get the impression of large birds feeding on this corpse, but most of their bodies are obscured by just the massive size of this giant elk.
How far away am I?
Say 40 feet at this point.
Okay. And then the cart behind me is what, 20 feet or so?
Sure, yep, about that.
Okay, so I'll turn around and I'll make that 20 feet back and just say, hey, it looks like some birds
so
or something.
You do the 20 feet back and you get ready to start explaining, you hear the sound of an explosion as the corpse suddenly ruptures as that built-up gas has just exploded, and you notice the area within, say, 30 feet or so of the corpse is just covered with innards and all this really nasty-looking goo and inside body parts. The birds are just absolutely decimated by this. One of them, which looks to be a really large raven, is just annihilated immediately. You notice that one other one that was a bit distance away is covered with this gunk, and it starts like very haphazardly shaking its wings and trying to take to flight, but it's having a really hard time, and it's kind of like hits the ground a couple times, and it's moving but not at a right pace. It looks like there's something wrong with it.
Well,
Can we see like a haze of like toxins or whatever in the air? Like,
maybe in an instant you might have seen that, like if you think of almost like fumes, right? But it's gone like almost right away.
Okay.
well, it doesn't look like we'll need to move it. Should I just keep on going?
Wait, why does dead animals explode? Where are we? What world are we in?
I don't know, but I don't like being in this death funnel. Shouldn't we get out of here?
How long did it say?
Dead
Did you say
animals
it would take
explode.
us to go around it? Like 30 minutes?
30 minutes, yep.
Maybe we shouldn't ride straight through. It's probably okay, but why take the chance? 30 minutes isn't gonna kill us.
In my head, Adam, there's like giant hills on both sides of us, right?
There are, but not immediately. So think of it as like an incline, and it's a pretty aggressive incline, but the first, say, 10 or 15 feet of it, it's certainly not a mountain right away. So you have to be very careful and like navigate around, and as Spectre mentioned, probably get out, push the cart to get it up a bit, maybe coax the horses. So altogether, all those steps will take you like 30 minutes to get enough distance away from the remains of this corpse now, and then kind of turn and continue going in that same direction.
We can do all that, but it looks like it just exploded. We just hi-ya the horses and just get through in like 2 minutes. But if you'd rather take the safe route, I guess we can do that. But
So wait a minute. Hey, where is Kurtu? Well, no one's here to see. What if it was a magic? What is a trap? And there's clearly dead animals don't just explode without some type of other influence. Am I the only one that's thinking crazy right now? There's somebody here with magic, and it's a
That's
trap.
incorrect. They can explode.
Like that?
Well, that's particularly forceful.
Seems... Yeah, it seems a bit unusual.
If anybody happens to be proficient in nature and wants to gauge whether or not this seems like something that could happen, you can go ahead and give me a blind check.
Not it.
Oh, that's right. Nobody's proficient in nature in this team?
No, I am, but didn't somebody else just say yes?
I think I heard a not it.
Yeah, that's me. I'm not. Yeah.
Hugo is also.
So, very much matching what you have just explained to Gale. It is certainly possible. It's rare, but essentially when gas becomes trapped in the body and can't normally escape, it builds up, and eventually, yes, a corpse can explode.
But with enough force to kill?
Based on the size of this giant elk and how much gas must have been building up in it, it doesn't seem out of the ordinary. Or I should say, it is out of the ordinary, but it doesn't seem impossible.
Well, now I've seen everything.
All right, so drive through the guts. Yeah, Harmony
Yeah.
should be okay.
Punch it.
Just put your masks on for 20 seconds while we go across it, I guess.
I am 10 feet outside of the wagon. I'll chase the wagon and wait until you guys pass it before I get on.
Okay, Cartu, here we go.
All right, so you guys essentially are just driving through the remains of this. You certainly hear like a squelching sound. There's a bit of an off odor in the air, but most of this has dissipated in the short period of time after it exploded, so there's no ill effects. But yes, you are left to wonder, gee, if you were right next to it and that happened, how bad would that be? But those thoughts quickly go out of your mind as you continue making your way through this area and getting closer to Altan. And guys, we'll go ahead and pause there to take our 15-minute break, and we will resume on the other side and continue the adventure.
Sounds good. See you in a bit.
Welcome back, folks, to the second half of our session. So, team, you guys are pushing forward towards Altan. You're approaching the forest as you have just passed this strange natural disaster or natural issue with this corpse. But yeah, you guys are pressing forward. All right, so as you guys continue forward, you travel for about another day or so, and you get to the point where you're now at the base of the forest and you're pushing inward. At first, you're able to spot that you can make some relatively easy progress, moving the cart and the horses in this direction. However, you can tell visually just by looking that it's not going to take too long before the trees are just way too close together that you're going to make easy progress. So think of this as having to constantly find different paths, constantly search for areas that are wide enough to move through. You think you're probably going to be moving somewhere between 4 and 10 times slower on the cart with horses.
Yeah, so I'm thinking we maybe stash the cart. I don't know how long on foot it's going to take us to find Altan.
It'll be quicker than trying to drag this thing through the woods.
Just leave some feed out, have the horses stay nearby. Hopefully.
There's no chance they're going to do that unless they're chained up, in which case they're going to get eaten by something. The other alternative is that we can try to bring the horses with us. It might be a little slower going than just on foot, but it'll be easier than dragging the cart as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
that
guess-
sounds good.
Kurtu agrees. So,
Very passionately.
yeah.
In between bites of my real life meal.
So does this wagon come with a padlock or something? I think it did, didn't it?
For the inside, yes, but it's only going to keep out the lamest of attempts, right? Like if somebody really wants to get in there, they're going to get in there.
So okay, so then we bring our horses with us and we hoof it, so to speak. See what I did there,
We'll leave a
Rasmus?
note saying, please don't steal our stuff.
That usually works.
That'll work.
Watch out for the arcane trap.
Hey, they have stuff. Let's see what they got.
I can use the forester background to find a good place to hide it.
Good
Yes, you've
idea.
done that effectively before, yeah. Go ahead and post that one for me. I think last time we asked you to make a survival check, but I want to just read that text again real quick, and then chances are good, I'm going to ask for a blind check. Yes, indeed. Blind check, please. That did not come through. Did you have your token selected? Top right corner there, Harmony. There we go. Yes, once again, very, very skilled at this, Harmony. You have no problem finding an area that is very well secluded. It's almost just wide enough for you to get in and move like 100 feet. It's almost, think of this as like a long driveway, in a sense, moving through the forest of just natural clearing. And as you get back there, there's an area that's maybe 50 feet in circular, 50 feet. So the cart can certainly stay there, and you don't think anybody is really going to spot this unless they're really, really determined.
Good work.
The forest is my home.
Clearly.
Yes, fortunately we have 3 people here who speak Elvish as well, so hopefully communicating with the locals won't be too hard.
So, Harmony, are you particularly good at navigating through forest to find this place? You want to take the lead?
Don't seem to have anything that speaks to that particularly, except for my natural inclination for nature and survival. But happy to drive if that's helpful. Hopefully it doesn't take a lot of strength.
Yeah, that's true. I have survival too, so we could be a good team.
Okay, so it sounds like Harmony and Gale are out front, leading the team in the direction that they believe to be Altend, and moving there through the forest. You guys are stepping through these tree areas. That's much easier not walking and pulling the horses along. The horses seem to be a little bit more apprehensive as you're getting into some of these really tight spaces, but along with your team's animal handling skill, this shouldn't be too challenging. As you slowly coax them, occasionally they stop and they don't want to go away. You just stop a moment, pat them on the nose kind of deal, and then just like slowly coax them forward, and eventually they do just that. You travel for about 3 hours or so in this fashion, moving as best you can along this direction, trying to see any signs of where this might be. The first thing that you notice that gives you any inclination is you smell the scent of smoke in the air.
Ryan, you smell that? It's not campfire. It's too thick.
It's like a forest fire?
I hope not.
No, that would be a different smell. This seems like, it's dissipated. I assume the wind is picking up smoke from something and bringing it this way.
Adam, do we get the opinion that it is a large, like, bigger fire, or like it's a homestead type fire?
So I would say what Rasmus just indicated is pretty spot on. So you know how obviously if you're by a fire you can smell the smoke that way, but even after a fire has been put out, there is still this sort of residual scent of smoke in the air, and char has that sort of odor. It's not what you pick up. Maybe an older fire.
This must be one of the villages that was already attacked.
Yeah, I think it's one of the villages.
Maybe. We can check it out.
Yeah, well, look, we're getting close, so maybe before we get there, we should kind of talk about our game plan for how we're going to talk to them.
Yes, it would be great to recap our mission briefly.
Well,
So-
we'll sum up. No, go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, you're right in a quick summation. I mean, apparently these 4 villages amongst this misty forest harmony have been attacked by a dragon and cultist. They say it's a green dragon. They say it's quite large. It's the only real rumors that they have. So our job is to go to this village, Altan, and basically this is the 4th village that survived, that wasn't completely wiped out, and see if we can get more information. Try our best to wipe out the cultists that are responsible for it and move on. But my issue is that why all of a sudden, Inspector brought it up too, is this one village is the only one that's not completely destroyed. That doesn't make sense.
That is odd.
There must be two things I've thought of while we've been traveling. The first is, why are the cultists here to begin with, right? Like, what are they after? It's not like last time they lost a mask. They must be after something.
So I will quietly fill her in on what we encountered at the cold place, where the natives seem to have made an alliance with a dragon, and that is what I suspect, because I am a summer ladron right now, and I am very angry and want to kill things. I suspect there might be the same thing afoot here.
Potentially, but I think the difference here and there may be, I don't know if everyone here would be a part of it, right? I mean, think about it. If all of the other villages have been wiped out, elves are stingy people. They hold grudges. I know
What?
they try to... They do. You're an Eladrin,
how
you're not
dare
an
you-
elf.
And they
You're an
smell funny,
Eladrin.
too.
You're not an
That
elf.
is quite an overstatement.
Well, this one does.
So, look, my guess is that if you have a village of elves that's been knocked out, you probably have cousins, aunts, uncles, siblings, etc., that live amongst these different villages that are dead now. Why would everyone in that village make an alliance? That doesn't make sense, right? I mean, would you? If someone killed your village?
Because they're forced to, and they have to go to one village where they have to pay homage to the thing, or all the family dies.
Maybe. But maybe these people in positions of power may have done something behind their back. I mean, they said that there's a priest and a warden. Those are two very different jobs to have as positions of power, right?
I don't know what the warden is. He's in the jail or something.
Kind of, but like a town master.
Oh.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Like, usually appointed, like Spectre said, military, right?
We had a chief, we had a shaman, and we had a war tribe guy. He was evil. He was mean.
So it sounds very familiarly set up the same.
But let's say a different circumstance. Let's say they maybe did enough damage to scare the dragon off. We've done that before too, right?
Yeah, I should have killed him, but I wasted my action for doing something else. I'll never forgive myself.
So we should be... I would say,
Keep our minds open to the possibilities.
yes, I agree. But nice to these villages, because if your home was just attacked and wiped out, I don't think people coming in and asking questions that are rude and accusing people would be the right thing to do. But we should have our wits about us that perhaps maybe these people in positions of power are... I mean, they did something extraneous to save their people. It just doesn't make sense that one village survived, right? That doesn't make sense.
Well, your optimism is contrary to my skepticism, which makes this a good team. I strap on my shield, though. We will investigate the burnt village.
Wait. Before we go, the second thing that I was thinking about real quick. If the dragon and the cultist have attacked multiple villages in this forest, they're doing it for a reason. But anybody that's... I mean, you can see how thick this forest is already. If you're not from here, it can't be easy to know where these villages are, right?
Oh, I have no idea where the villages are.
I'm just thinking that, I mean, that for them, these cultists, to have such a great plan of attack, to come in, decimate, and then run away so efficiently without elves being able to fight back, that seems suspicious too,
How
right?
do we know it was done efficiently? How do we know they didn't just stumble upon, or how do we know they don't have a magical item that they came looking for? I mean, there's a whole
mean, that's
bunch
true.
of what ifs.
And
I would
also,
imagine dragons to be fairly efficient.
And if a dragon's flying around, I think they'll be able to see him from the sky. So where we can't see him in the forest doesn't mean they can't see him from the sky.
So also keep in mind, this is very good points from the smart peoples of our group, that keep in mind the back of your skull, as Leroy would say, that we were commissioned by the Emerald from the Arcane Brotherhood or the Zentarum. This is obviously, I think he's keeping something from us because there's something here from the Emerald Enclave that he doesn't want to tell the council. It's because he's nervous, so he told us to get it for him away from the council. So he's afraid that there's something artifact here that the cultists need for their mission. That's what I think too is possible.
Maybe, but he said that the elves in the Emerald Enclave have a connection. So perhaps the Enclave sent for help, right? I think that maybe these villages sent for help from the Enclave.
Well, he doesn't want to tell the council clearly, so this is a secret mission from the council, so maybe he's nervous, save face or something.
No, remember, you guys didn't want to speak to the council, so everybody we talk to has to be in secret.
Yeah, but he talked to us specifically about this. Well, this is not a council mission, so this is an Emerald Enclave, so there's something here important for the Emerald Enclave.
Maybe. I got the impression that he just didn't think that the council would act quickly enough with all their competing priorities.
Views. I agree with Spectre.
Well, I am in my suspicious mood, and I don't trust him, and I am going to kill the first thing that jumps out of these forests.
Okay,
sorry, I'm in summer mood right now.
Jump us, and let's not just start swinging without at least thinking with our heads. Kurtu brings up good points. It could have been random, unaffiliated attacks. It could have been well-planned out attacks. We don't know. So I think the best thing for us is to just maybe we subtly question these villages, right? Do our best not to make any assumptions, but work with the understanding that we definitely think something suspicious is here. Agreed?
Yeah, so let me think. This organized group who is talking with chromatic dragons, wanting to overcome the entire world, randomly attacked some small villages in the forest for no reason. Obviously, there's, like you said, there's something here, an artifact or something that is very, very important for this peoples who want to take over the world. We're not just saving villagers.
And I wouldn't be here for no reason, right? The cultists, they don't act unless they have something to gain, but we have to just figure out what it is. And I say we go towards the smell of that smoke, because that smells to me like the remains of decimation.
Okay, ground zero we go. Oh, sorry, Armini, I'm speaking too loud.
Please try to keep in mind that these are victims and they've just been through a very traumatic event when you're interrogating them.
Maybe.
She's right, Gail.
Okay, I will be very cordial. As I strap on my shield at him and tightly put it around my forearm.
Okay. All right, so yeah, you guys continue having this conversation as you're kind of walking about slowly through the misty forest here. You can certainly see where this forest gets its name, as it is very foggy inside this forest. So think of this as lightly obscured, meaning as you look, you pretty quickly don't see much in front of you after, say, 20 to 40 feet in various areas. It's very, very foggy, so you're staying as close together as you can. But you also notice that there is a high humidity here as well, so this fog has sort of like a wet vapor feel to your skin. As you look at your arms or look at your skin, you can see like little droplets are starting to form every now and again. You guys continue pushing through the misty forest, and sure enough, that scent of char is indeed what looks to be a burned out village. So based on what Delan has explained to you, it seems as though the villages that were struck, the pattern was from a southeast to northwest direction. So you feel, based on where you're at now, Altan must be to your northwest.
Okay, we go. We have our badge, right? Who has the badge?
I think we all have badges, right, Adam?
Just a single badge was provided by Delan.
Oh, it's right here in my pocket.
Oh, we left it!
No, it's in my...
It's on the cart! No!
It's in my pocket. Here, I don't think I should be the Emerald Enclave Harmony. Why don't you hold on to it? You look and smell. I mean, look like you belong with the Emerald Enclave.
I would be happy to hold on to it.
I hand it to you. And I still have my platinum ring, and it's given me great luck. Thank you for that.
Anytime.
Adam, where we're at in the village, or outside of the village, can we see any remnants of any attack from this far out? Like, is there any bodies or, burnt things? Or I assume
a lot of burnt vegetation, trees, that sort of thing. You can see trees that are snapped in half. Some of them fairly high up is where they're broken. Yes, you can certainly see the remains of what appears to be a large battle here, or at least an attack of some kind. But you don't see bodies, you don't see anything that you would consider to be something like right after an attack, for example. This certainly seems like this attack has been some days in the past, a week, maybe more, hard to say.
We know that the fire didn't come from a green dragon, and it's hard to snap trees that old and that large if you're anything but a large dragon, so I think we're in the right place.
Are there any pipples here?
No, that village is to the northwest a little bit further.
But in the burnt one, is there any pipples?
You do not see. So again, you're on the outskirts looking through the trees. So think of it as like a large circle area that is charred and damaged, broken, that sort of thing. You're not in there. You're sort of looking through the trees and spotting that from, say, 60 or so feet away. So you're just noticing these things. You can certainly walk into the center area if you wish to investigate further. But I would say, based on what you're seeing here, you have a footnote as far as where exactly you are and where you need to go.
So I'll scratch my head and say to the group, I thought green dragons did they not do fire, or they do both fire and then the poison one?
They do
with their breath.
They do poison. So the conclusion here is that the dragon came in. This corroborates what I have already forgotten his name. His story. Yeah, that
Delon. Yeah.
About how the dragon attacked and then the cult came in and cleaned up. So the dragon's servants or co-conspirators came in after most of the work was done and burned this place to the ground.
And it's still smoldering, so this is probably maybe a week or two at most, right?
Yeah, if that. I mean, you gotta think that they had time to get a message to Waterdeep, so it's been a while since the actual attack happened. I wonder how many people survived.
Do you think there's like a little pipples hiding in like the broom closet and survived?
No. You're not interpreting correctly, Gil. We're not going to a completely destroyed village. We're going to a village that survived the attack with people who are still alive.
But what if we find a survivor, then we go to the intact village, and
we're there
say,
now.
Look,
this is where we're at. We're there now. You're thinking we found a new village, but you're incorrect, Gil.
No, this is the burnt village.
Yes, same village. We're on the outskirts of it.
Okay.
If it's been a week, I doubt anyone has stuck around. If the elves are nomadic and that kind of thing. Well, not nomadic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I was just thinking, if this is burnt village, if there's a little, like someone survived, we bring him to the one village that's doing well, I guess. We would have
yeah, but that's where we're
heroes.
at. We're at Altan now.
No,
we're not at a different.
You're not at Altand. No, you're southeast of Altand and a charred village, right? So based on where you're at the moment, you feel like you're confident that Altand is to your northwest. So answering your question though, Gale, as you look around, again, you're still in the tree line. So as you look to this charred area, you don't see much in the way of remains here. So think of you heard this information from Delon that there's these elves build up, right? So they have like tree structures built in the area. You could certainly see maybe remnants of rope here and there, maybe some planks of like a rope bridge. but you don't even see what you would consider to be like a central tree or maybe one of the offshoot trees that would house something like that. This looks like it's been razed to the ground.
So I think that if there were any survivors, they would have known to go to Altland, Altand. So it's very
I
unlikely we'd find anyone here. So I will avoid my embarrassment of searching and yelling for peoples who are here, and we'll just go to Altand.
Okay, so you guys gather your thoughts here, decide not to investigate further the charred remains here, which doesn't look like it contains basically anything. So you use this as a location or a marker in your minds and start traveling to the northwest, once again with Armony and Gale leading the way. You guys travel for about another 3 hours or so through the forest. Again, the mist here is very thick. It lays on everything. This moisture seems to be coating all of you. It is, again, very humid and warm, so you might be sweating, and this mist is on top of you as well. So many of you are constantly, like, even subconsciously just wiping against your brows, that sort of thing. You continue moving to the northwest, but after about this 3 hour mark or so, it is starting to get dark. The sun is beginning to descend, and you're looking around wondering how much farther it must be to Altan. You know, with only like an hour of light or so left in the day, would you be able to make it before we'll randomly say Kurtu looks up and realizes you're there.
Wow.
Would this be something a Ladrin would have set up in the Feywild? I guess I should know that. But
I wish I could say I knew that,
yeah.
but I honestly have no idea. Yeah, if you want to say, I'll feel free to take creative license here and say whether or not you think Eladrins operate similarly to wood elves.
Army's an elf, right?
Half elf.
Okay, so am I the only full elf here?
Not
Well,
it.
Okay, then I will say, wow, Rasmus, it looks like my home. This is what we do at home.
Yeah, Prismia is different. Ours is a combination of subterranean and also goes into the trees, but nothing like this. This is pretty extravagant.
So I would be very wary. We approach as strangers, and there's a lot of archers probably posted in the trees. I'm just speaking the obvious, right? So maybe Armini goes first, and show your pretty ears, Armini. Move your hair back a little bit. Show the pointy ears.
Okay, will do.
They'd also probably respond well to the badge of the Emerald Enclave. They have good ties with him if they're the ones who sent out a call for help.
Is there anybody on the ground level, Adam?
You suspect so, because you can hear the sounds of movement and the sounds of people, but because of how thick this mist is, you can't see anybody.
Maybe we should find somebody to speak with down here before we go up there, yeah?
Yeah, that is usually the tradition.
With my experience living in the woods with elves, would I know, like, the proper place to approach?
Let's put it to a check. So go ahead and give me a blind check here, Armini. So you would know that generally these tree villages operate on a pulley system, so there's no way to access the upper levels unless somebody up above lowers a platform down to you. It's almost like an elevator, but obviously much more of a natural kind of one, not as formal as all that. But yes, you would basically want to find what it would be considered the entrance, and that would be someplace on the ground that is open and free and clear and would allow a platform to be lowered from above. So you would suspect that what you want to do is circle this massive tree and see where that sort of clearing is that you suspect the platform would be.
That's what I'm going to do.
I follow Harmony.
I
Okay.
think we all follow so that we don't get lost in the fog.
Yes, I'm assuming you're staying fairly close together here. So again, still kind of wiping that dew or the mist from the vapor of the fog off of your faces. You push around this area, you start circling this, and yes, you can certainly hear voices all speaking in Elvish that seem to be coming from above you. Those of you that speak Elvish, you get the impression of fairly typical kind of village interactions. You hear people saying like, hey, give me a hand here. Oh, let's take a look at that place. Yep, this is going to need repair. So nothing that strikes you as odd, and certainly lines up with a place that has just gone through an attack. However, you don't notice any signs, or you don't smell any kind of char in this area. As you begin circling this structure, circling this tree, you notice a few actual structures built on the ground here, and they seem to be around this large stone monument that depicts some kind of an elf. So you're at a bit of a distance where you can see this monument, but the mist is like still there, so if you want to really examine it, you'd have to get closer. But as you notice this and you notice these structures, you can see the space you suspected, Harmony, this sort of clearing area. It's maybe 40 feet or so away from this monument, and it seems like, yes, this clearly must be the location where the platform can be lowered.
So no one else is suspicious except for Gale. No one's guarding and accosted us already. Okay, let's go to the plank.
Well, they're elves. They've probably spotted us.
Well, clearly. So we are under watch. So I wouldn't go into any buildings and just go right to the plank.
I'd like to look at the monument and learn a little bit more about what the citizens of this village hold dear.
Okay, so Harmony, you start pushing through the fog here, getting closer to the monument. As you're stepping closer to it, you can see your vision to it gets better and better as the distance between you and the monument is lessened. This certainly depicts some type of an elven man based on his attire that is depicted in this monument. It looks to be sort of like a leather armor, bow on his back, blades at his side. You get a strong impression of an elven ranger, perhaps.
As we're walking, can I just be on the lookout for like anything that might be like a trap? Because I feel like they would have their entrance guarded, so attacks.
I presume you guys are always relying on your passive perception, so I don't want to get in the habit of you say, well, I'm specifically looking for this, it gives any kind of advantage, so you always will have your passive perception.
Okay.
Harmony is going to pick a flower and lay it at the feet of the monument.
Okay, yeah, you have no problem finding wildflowers in this area, so you spend maybe 20 seconds or so finding one, cultivating it, and setting it in front of the monument.
Did you learn something from that?
There's no details, like, there's nothing in Elvish or anything, like.
So all you've done so far is sort of approach it and look at it. If you want to, walk around the base of the monument, see if there's any scripture or any kind of fixtures of text here, you could certainly do that.
Yes, please.
Okay. So you get right basically on top of it now, where you're standing right in front of the monument. You can see that there is some Elvish script written here on the monument, and it does provide a name of this elf, and you can see it has a list of some deeds that seem to be associated with this. The name of this elf, if you're interested, is Sarjor Autumnflight. And you can see in the script below, it mentions some of these combats and battles that Sarjor apparently was very prominent in and led the elves to victory. So you're seeing like dates and names of opponents. Typically all these names of opponents look to be orcs, goblins, and the occasional gnolls.
What was the last name again?
Autumnflight.
Autumnflight. Okay. Does it appear very old?
The monument, yes. The
maybe
monument appears to be ancient.
I'd like to point out that It's obvious that these elves are not just tradesmen. I mean, if they have statues depicting these ancient warriors, I suspect that they're pretty strong. And also, this is a massive tree. I mean, it's a great place to hold your own, and it's not like I don't feel like a dragon could fly around easily here. I mean, look at all these trees.
Not always about size, but certainly.
I would like to point out that clearly they have been here for many, many generations, and it's a place that they would value very highly and want to protect.
And also a place where they might keep their valuables.
Maybe.
Spectre and Gale, as you're standing here a little bit back from the monument and watching Harmony look at it and kind of come to her own conclusions, you can see on the other side of the monument somebody is standing there.
Oh, I will say in Elvish, hey, is everything all right?
You notice the shape, this humanoid shape that is standing there, kind of moves slightly but does not respond.
Are you okay?
Who are you
Can you hear
talking
me?
to?
There's a person back there. I say in Elvish. Hey, bud, everything all right? We're friends.
You notice as you call out again, this form turns and you recognize a young elvish man who seems to be wearing some type of armor, perhaps a breastplate. And you can see he looks towards you with these piercing green eyes. And as he looks, he says, "Oh, I am dreadfully sorry. I did not realize that you were speaking to me. Good day. I am Quinkin, and you are?"
I'm Gale. Lovely place here. We're just admiring the monument.
Oh, yes, the monument. It is very important to our people. I find my mind often on the monument, and on Sarjor, particularly in these trying times.
Yes, we've heard. We actually saw a burnt village just nearby. You've suffered some losses, but is you guys faring well?
He nods slowly, but a bit begrudgingly. "Ah, yes, Fahi Seren. That was the closest village to us. It unfortunately was burned to the ground."
Yes, very sad. We're actually here to wanting to talk to the warden if he's available. Is there a way? We're on a mission from the Emerald Enclave.
You
Is there
notice
a way
he
we could talk?
smiles as you say Emerald Enclave. "Oh, you're looking for my father. Oh, I can bring you to him. Apologies, but in these times, again, things are so hard to interpret correctly. Do you have some kind of proof that you are with the Emerald Enclave?"
And I'll just wave
Yes.
my hand towards Harmony.
Here's our badge.
You see he turns and looks at you, and his look kind of lingers on you a bit longer, Harmony. You get the impression that like he's apprising you or trying to make some decision in his head, but as you pull the badge out and hold it to him, his eyes linger just a moment before they lower and look at the badge, and you see he nods slowly. "Thank you, that is well enough. Perhaps I shall take you to see my father now, then?"
Yes, that'd be great.
Thank you.
"Please follow me." And you see he turns. And as he
Excuse me.
Sure,
Wait,
yeah, he looks back
sorry.
as you call out.
We also heard of a priest.
"Oh, you mean Winfira?"
Sure. I don't know her name. Is that Winfira? Is she... Who is in charge, her or your father?
And you notice he kind of stammers for a moment as he's like starting to speak, and then collects himself and like wipes at his face. Well, unfortunately, Winfira was in charge, but she met her demise recently, and now my father is in charge. He is the warden of the village."
I see.
"If you'll please follow me."
And when he said that and he stammered, could I take a second to insight check that and kind of glean what that stammer was about? Was it like someone important to him that died, or is it like a...
Sure, yeah, give me a blind check.
Or is it a coup?
Oops, my bad.
check.
Sorry about that.
That one would
That's
definitely
just-
got it.
Yeah.
You notice, I would say you read in his posture that he's a bit uncomfortable with this whole situation. There's something that's got him a little bit maybe on edge.
Okay, I'll just tuck that in my back pocket for later and kind of gesture to follow him and say,
No
kind
satyrs
of
had
sorry.
pockets, but okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a marsupial pouch, but it's
Gotcha.
2 on the back side, yeah.
All right, so yes, you'll notice Quinkin then turns and begins walking towards that area where Armony already deduced the platform would lower. He looks back to assume you're all following him, which I assume you all do, and you'll see he then calls upwards, and he speaks in Elvish, and he says, "Lower the platform, Quinkin Treelight wants to come aboard." And you'll hear a responding voice from up above, "Quinkin Treelight has been granted passage." And then you hear this sound, ee, like a pulley being moved, and you notice this large rope-bearing platform is slowly lowered. You can hear it before you can see it through the mist, and eventually it comes down, lands on the base of the ground here, and he steps on top of it with a thump, and he looks back at all of you and motions with his hand for you to climb aboard.
We do so.
Okay, as you do so, he calls up once again, and you hear the pulley system going a second time, and this time it moves a little bit slower with all the extra weight, but eventually the platform is brought up to the tree part itself, where all these different homes and buildings have been constructed right alongside of the tree. So you're up now, think of this on a platform that is built into the tree, and you can see that there are many different directions to go, both tree bridges and long limbs of the trees themselves that seem to have things growing off of them. Quinkin looks to you all and says, "I hope you're up for a little bit of a climb. The warden's office is near the top. Come with me." And you see he moves over to one of these very long ladders, and as you look up, you can't even see the top of where this ladder ends, but you see he grabs onto the rungs and begins ascending, and does so very quickly.
While he's ascending, I want to ask, I'll just follow after him first, I suppose, and while we're climbing, I'll say, in Elvish, I'll go, Quinkin, what part of your village was hurt the most, I suppose, from the attack?
I suppose that would be the structures near the surface. That seemed to be the most physical damage done to the buildings. Unfortunately, the loss of life was great here, but my father can tell you of those details.
I'm sure he can, and I don't mean him any disrespect, but it looks like you hold a lot of, I guess you could say, pain in your heart about what happened, so hearing it from you is also good for me to learn. Did you happen to capture any of the people who attacked you?
As you mention the pain in his heart, you see he pauses before continuing to ascend up the rungs, collecting himself for a moment, and he says, "Yes, I recently lost my mother. It's to this attack. It's hard not to think about it, but I'm sorry, what was your other question?" And he continues climbing.
It's okay. Sorry about your mom. I hope you can find some solitude knowing that we're here to help and track down the people who did this. My question was, did you capture any of the people who did do this?
No, the attack was so quick and sudden, it hit us before we really even knew what was going on.
And then they just left?
And once again, you hear a bit of a pause in his response. Yes, it was quite strange.
Whatever the reason, fortunately not more people perished. This is a really long ladder.
And with this, he gives a slight bit of a chuckle. "Oh, yes, I apologize. I forgot. This is what we do, but we're all so used to it, so it's like nothing to us. But perhaps next time we can take a less exhausting route. And with this,
No,
he
it's
gets
okay.
to
It's
the
just
top rung and pulls himself up as he leans down and offers you a hand, seeing if you're needing assistance getting to the top.
no, I'm fine. It's just hooves and ladder rungs don't really work well.
He seems to nod at this as though he understands and allows you to ascend to the top and waits for each individual member of the team to climb up, and again does the same thing, offering his hand if you wish to take it, and he'll help you up to the top.
I'll take it.
Okay, and he seems to have a firm grasp as he pulls you up to the top, Gale.
Excellent. And during this time, I'd like to use an ability that I'll just send it your way.
Okay.
I'm gonna reach down to help Armony whenever Armony's coming, and I'm just gonna whisper in Armony's ear that Quinkin lost his mom, because I know she's been taking more of the passive, nice approach with these elves, and her having that information may go a long way.
Could I have heard him say that when we were all climbing the ladder anyway?
If you were the next up behind Rasmus, sure.
Okay, I was.
Nice.
I'm going to say to Quinkin, was Winifred your mother?
He shakes his head. Oh, no, the priestess was not my mother, no. She was important to our village here, but no. And you see he starts moving fairly quickly once all of you are to the top, and walks to this sort of open kind of platform, and you notice that there is a building, and I'm saying that in loose quotes, as it's kind of airy and open, but you see he motions, and you can see there's like these poles that hold up a tent kind of covering or a canopy above this location. You can notice that there's like boxes and all this kind of thing, but there is a desk in the middle of the room, and he's sort of motioning that way, and he calls out in Elvish, and you hear him say think of this as sort of like an affectionate greeting one might do to a family member. So it's sort of like the equivalent of saying Papa, right? So he says that into the room, and then continuing Elvish says, there are some representatives of the Emerald Enclave here to see you. And you hear just a really quick, send them in from inside, and Quinkin continues motioning for you to go in.
We follow.
All right, stepping into a modest dwelling suspended among iron-strong boughs, you enter a cozy sitting room. A bulky elf sits at a desk, standing to greet you with a forced smile as a raven perched in a nearby cage caws hideously. Welcome to our village, the elf says. How can I be of service?
We're so sorry to hear of the attack on your village and for your personal losses as well as your villages.
You notice he kind of nods slowly after a moment. I thank you for your concern and your condolences. It is a terrible loss to have to bear, but I thank Sylvanas that we did not lose everyone.
Amen. We were sent by
Talon.
Delon to help get to the bottom of it. Do you have any idea why your village was spared?
He shakes his head. I do not. It is a question that is on my mind quite frequently. I wish I knew the answer to this. Perhaps it is our attackers just playing games. Or perhaps another attack is yet imminent. I do not know, but I can certainly share some details to you of what I have learned so far.
Can I insight him, Adam?
For what?
When he's saying that, saying that he's not quite sure why they were spared. Does it, like, his son obviously stammered and like beat around the bush a lot, but can I see anything in him as well? Do I get a trustworthy sense from him?
Sure, yeah, you can give me a check for that.
Sure. And since I got inspiration, I'm going to go ahead and use it because we're getting close to the end of our session.
Okay, optimizing the inspiration, like it. I would say you're quite confident that he is being truthful and being forthcoming.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Sure. So he motions for you all to take a seat in these sort of irregular chairs. Some of them are just barrels that you can sit on. But you see he looks towards you and says, if there's any specific way you wish to do this, you wish to ask the questions, or would you like me to just tell you what it is that I have learned so far?
Kind of think we need two things here, sir. I'm sorry. My name is Darkfoot. I'm really the enforcer of the group, but I think it would be best if you could let us talk to the people of the village. Like if you could let them know, maybe spread word that we're not here to hurt anybody and to be honest with us when we ask them questions. So maybe we could get a couple of different views of what happened, as well as your own account.
Okay, so you notice as you're saying this, he seems a little bit skeptical of you until you add the "and your own account" part at the end. And then he kind of looks towards you and nods slowly. I suppose it makes sense to try to get as much information as you can. Yes, I will certainly put the word out that your group is here trying to assist us in these matters.
What is he speaking in Elvish, or can everybody understand him?
He seems to be speaking in Common.
Okay, cool. So, my first question for you is, did this happen overnight or during the day?
It was, unfortunately, much like a time like now. There was still some light in the sky, but it was faint, dropping.
And from what direction did the attack come?
Well, to that, there is different answers depending on who you ask. Everyone says the direction is a bit different. I haven't been able to narrow that specifically down, I'm afraid.
Okay, fair enough. In your memory of what happened, where were you? Like, were you in here, I suppose, and then an attack happened and you rushed out? What was the first thing you saw?
I was here. I think I heard the screaming first, but I didn't necessarily think something was wrong right away. You see, there was other screaming going on earlier. The kids sometimes are loud, or people unfortunately get into disagreements. So when I first heard it, I thought perhaps I didn't hear what I actually heard, and I stopped and waited, and then the noise grew to a crescendo, and I realized that something was quite wrong. When I came out of my area and I looked, I saw that entire one of our rope bridges had been just completely decimated, and it was covered in a sickly green type of substance. The sound of a dragon moving by was hard to miss. It swooped by, moving very, very quickly, blasting its breath weapon upon the villagers as they tried to escape. Unfortunately, while this structure has served us well in the past against terrestrial attackers, an aerial attacker was much different to face.
Yes, and we heard that this attack has happened to other villages as well, and cultists came in.
Yes, that happened here as well. Humans in the regalia of the cult of the worm followed the dragon, killing all those they found. Our priest stepped out to lead some of the fighters here, but the beast swallowed her whole.
Goodness. And this happened up in this tree area here, or did they go and take the fight to the ground?
Some made it to the ground, but much of the fighting of what little there was, what little defense we had, was up here in the trees. We did not have time to react, so we only had what was at hand.
And do you have any idea why they left? I mean, we came through a village on our way in, and it was completely decimated. So why did they spare you?
I wish I knew the answer to this question. I suspect that there was some kind of plan or something that occurred, because once the attack ended, it was as though it ended entirely. Both the dragon and the cultists just simply turned tail and moved away. Of course, it's hard to make out much with all of the mist here, but that much I can be assured of. There wasn't sporadic fighting once the attack was called off. It was all of a sudden they all left.
How exactly was the attack called off? Was it horn? Was it just all of a sudden they dispersed? Could you describe how that happened?
They dispersed. I heard no sound of a horn. In the chaos, I suppose it's possible, but no, I did not hear any loud sound that would draw my attention.
Kurtu, is there a way that someone can communicate with that many people telepathically?
I guess if they were really powerful, but I don't know.
Adam, I could make an Arcana check to see if a spell rings bell.
Sure, yeah, you can give me a blind check. You think, assuming based on what you're hearing here, that this was like an army, you don't think so. You're not familiar with any spell that would allow you to telepathically communicate to an entire army.
It would be tough.
Just curious. Does anybody else have any questions for... I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Galen.
Galen did volunteer to go ahead and tell us some stuff before we ask questions, so maybe... Galen, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, I have tracked as much notes as I could, and you see he starts looking at this parchment down near the table. You see, when the dragon attacked in the air, it struck at the tree bridges, the rope bridges, I should say, and the individuals trying to flee. Once that was complete, it landed on the ground and served as sort of a figurehead or mask to the invading humans then coming behind it. Some of the survivors that I've spoken to said they saw a cultist riding atop the dragon. This human just seemed like he was almost in control, or at least very comfortable with the dragon. Most people, unfortunately, that died, they died very quickly. We didn't have an opportunity to react, as I mentioned. Numbers-wise, we lost nearly half of the population. This attack did not last long. It happened very quickly, and the dragon unexpectedly retreated. The cultists, when they left very quickly as well. They did not seem to take anything. They didn't take any valuables or anything. They just turned and left.
Very strange.
So, how many dragon attacks, Sir Warden, how many dragon attacks have you been able to endure since you've been here?
You mean in the entire time that I've been here, or this most recent?
That is correct. The entire time of your existence.
I seem to recall one some 50 years ago or so, but only the two.
Was there cultists at the time similar to what you experience now?
No. It was a rogue young green dragon at that time.
Easy pickings, I think, for you guys, right?
Well, there were losses there as well, but we were able to rebuff the dragon at that time. With enough arrows fired upon it, decided to find an easier target.
Yeah, okay. So that was a random attack. Clearly, this one was deliberate, with a mounted rider.
He nods.
And you have no conclusion with your suspicion that of why your particular villages were targeted.
From what I understand from the communications we've had with others villages in the area, this is an occurrence that has happened multiple times. I know of Fahisaran that was destroyed, razed to the ground not all that long ago, and from what I hear, other villages have also been destroyed to the southeast. We've had our hands full just trying to prepare and survive, so I haven't had an opportunity to speak to many of the other king's representatives, but I certainly agree with your suspicions that this was a targeted attack.
Are those representatives in your village now?
The king's representatives? No.
Yeah.
You see, the king assigns a representative to sort of act as a leader for each of the villages. There's not a lot of communication between the representative and the king. It is a very great honor that the king bestows upon somebody who's earned his trust to act as the leader of that village. There is frequent changes, of course, as elves are. We are a fickle people, I suppose you could say, and our desires often draw us elsewhere. But no, I can't say that there was anything strange that I can really recall, and as I said, I have not been able to speak to the leaders of the other villages.
Well, you have your hands full just taking care of your own people. Just as Rasmus said, if you allow us to maybe try to look into it, and maybe we could delve our equal suspicions of why this was clearly a targeted attack.
I would be more than willing to allow you to ask anybody here that you'd like to gather more information. And if I must say, all of you entering here, you certainly look equipped and prepared to defend yourself. So you're welcome to stay as long as you like. If the dragon should happen to return, having your aid might be the difference.
You have my sword and my shield, and I'll bow and step back.
He puts a hand up towards his heart and is like an incline of the head of this very solemn gesture.
Is there anything that you can think of value that the dragon could have been looking for from village to village?
Specific items? I from what I hear, the other villages, things were taken, treasures were taken before they were razed to the ground. Money, coin, jewelry, those types of things were all taken. If you mean those kind of things, we certainly have some treasures here in our village. We are not a great wealthy people, but we have some treasures. But if you mean something more like some kind of artifact, nothing that comes to mind.
Thank you.
He nods his head towards you, Emily.
Did any survivors from the nearby villages make their way here?
Yes, in fact, there were some. I'm still getting a count of how many survived the attack on this village. It was certainly not all of them.
We'd be gentle in our questioning, but is there any way we can see them? It might help us paint a bigger picture of what these cultists and their dragon were after if we can talk to people who lived through their successful attempts.
He nods. Yes, that can certainly be arranged. If you wish to speak with them, head back to the ground level near the monument, and I will ask Quinkin to bring them to you. He was leading them in a prayer session earlier this morning, so he should be able to track them down with ease.
Thank you.
Just head towards you as well, Spectre.
How long have you lived in this forest, Warden?
In the Misty Forest, 100 and so years?
I assume it's always been misty.
It has.
You know, if there's a green dragon around, from our experience with dragons, they all have very peculiar places they like to lay their heads to rest and recoup. We experienced this with a white dragon that loved the top of a mountain, another white dragon that loved the subarctic caves. So far, it seems that they all have their particular taste. Do you have any knowledge of a green dragon and what, since you fought one before, did you have to go and chase it to its lair? Is there, I don't know, a swamp nearby, maybe a giant cave or something?
There are, unfortunately, many locations within a day's journey from here that could serve as a lair to a green dragon. I would not even know where to begin to pinpoint you. If you wish to track down every lead, I can certainly put together a list. I cannot say that it would be exhaustive, however.
Well, if we're to get rid of the problem, was to find it, so I understand that it would be extraneous, but having an idea of local places that this dragon could go to could be beneficial to us.
Well, if you wish, I can certainly begin to accumulate a list, but as I said, this is the Misty Forest, and in here there are many large caverns, crevasses, there are trees collections that are large enough. There are certain areas of the forest where the trees themselves create sort of a natural platform, I suppose you could call it, of all the greenery. It is solid enough based on the large size of the trees that you can walk right atop it. I don't know that it would necessarily support the weight of a dragon, but there are many things in the forest that unfortunately would need to be tracked down to rule everything out.
I understand. I appreciate your help. We're going to go question folks now, I suppose. Just before we go, can I ask about your raven here? I've always loved birds. We saw a few on the way in. Is this a pet of yours?
He nods. Yes, I've had him for perhaps 3 years now. He's not exactly the most quiet of companions, but his demeanor has always brought joy to me.
That's cool. Is he here with you when he... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Harmony.
Harmony's gonna talk to the raven.
Okay.
And say, how do you like it here? Were you scared during the attack?
And remind me what ability this is, just to make sure I'm interpreting the ruling of the ability correctly.
Sure. I will post it. It's called Speak with Speech of the Woods.
Speech of the Woods. Okay. So you turn to the raven and you begin to speak with it. And I imagine this kind of sounds strange because you're not speaking in regular words, right? You're kind of speaking in a combination of, maybe words that sound like cawing, maybe some gestures that communicate to the bird what you're trying to get across. And as you do, you notice the raven kind of cocks its head and seems somewhat surprised that it can actually understand you. And it's so surprised that it kind of like looks back around and like kind of hops on this little pedestal inside of its cage. And then it looks back to you and again through a similar cawing sound and sort of dipping its head and moving and raising its head up in the air and shaking its neck, and you can see its feathers kind of ruffle. You're able to get out that the raven was terrified when the attack occurred. It heard a lot of chaos in the area, and again, it's the way it's communicating this to you is not exactly the words I'm using, but this is the gist of what you're getting. Yes, so that's what he tells you. He was very, very concerned. He was worried he was going to die.
I'm going to reply, we'll do our best to keep you safe.
And it does this sort of like humming, cawing sound that you take for, that would be great.
What time of day is it, Adam?
It is late evening, so the sun is descending. It is probably only, half light still in the sky. All right, so it sounds like you guys are finished speaking with Galen, the warden here. So you're exiting his office, and I'm assuming you're heading down towards the monument to await Quinkin bringing some of those individuals to you?
Is there like an infirmary anywhere nearby?
You suppose there probably is, but you're not sure where it would be.
He said we could stay as long as we needed to, right?
He did, yes.
Yeah, he said we were welcome, and he said he would tell everybody that we're cool. So I think I'm going to walk around before I go down to the ground level and see if I can find an infirmary up here, Adam, and see if I can come across any survivors.
Okay, sure. So give me a blind check, and this will represent your efforts of kind of walking around, seeing what you can see, and then seeing if you find anybody that is looks like they're open to talking. That one actually didn't come through if you have your token selected or not.
I didn't click it, but I also speak Elvish too, if that helps out.
Oh, sorry, I saw the descriptive text and I thought that was the check. Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't take you very long. You end up climbing one more short ladder to get up to like a next level. Start moving around there. Maybe 5 minutes later or so, you notice there's another one of these large pavilions with the structure, and there's a bunch of cots that look to be set up here. And you can see several people lying on them. Some people are sitting on them, and there's a couple of attendants that are sort of moving between them. You're pretty certain this is the infirmary.
Did anybody in the party, did you guys come with me, or did just a couple of you, or?
I feel like we can all go together.
Well, before I leave, the warden and his son, I'm gonna ask if there's like the tree lights. I'm gonna ask if there's a place that we can lay our head tonight while we conduct the investigation.
You notice that the warden nods, and he has a sort of like morose look on his face, and he says, yes, there is quite a bit of space available now. I will have Quinkin show you to suitable accommodations.
Our deepest sympathies again for all of your losses.
He once again does this gesture that you recognize as being sort of a deep empathy kind of gesture.
Yeah, I'll follow Rasmus.
Okay, so you guys make your way up, spot this infirmary, notice these injured folks and attendants.
Hey, Adam, I'm going to, sending stone, I have 23 words typed down. I'm going to send it in the chat, the game chat.
Okay. Okay. And I think that allows a response. But
25, yeah.
Yeah, so the response that you would get is essentially status quo on this end, appreciate the update, do what you can.
Copy. I don't say that.
Can we say while we're walking to the infirmary, Adam, before we got there, since everybody's coming with me, I'm going to stop and kind of look at everybody before we climb that last ladder and say, so for someone who just lost his wife, he looked way different than his son, right? Or was that just me?
Was that his wife? Do we determine that, or do you insight that?
Well, if the son lost his mom, then I assume that that's his wife.
No, I think Armini's... Wait.
The priest and his wife are two different people.
Both died in the attack.
Yeah,
I don't know if we
okay,
can.
yeah.
I don't know if we can draw any conclusions yet. People handle grief in different ways. I've had to watch a lot of it, so some of it my fault, most of it my fault. But
Yeah.
regardless,
Yeah.
we need to ask around and see who can corroborate these stories. We might learn something from other people. Obviously, he's only one man. Even if he was in the thick of the chaos, he couldn't take note of everything. So I don't know what to make of this situation yet. We just need more information.
I get that. I mean, he seemed to have been truthful with what he was telling us, but at the same time, I felt like he was oddly, cheerful, if that's the right word for it, but maybe I'm just overthinking it.
I
But,
didn't get that impression.
No, you're not
You did not.
overthinking it. Suspicions are keep us alive.
He struck me as a man who has the burden of leadership through a difficult time. He's trying to maintain
That seemed cheerful to me.
He's trying to maintain a professional and strong front.
I mean, maybe. But, I mean, just hear me out for 1 second, right? What he said was he was in his office and the attack happened, right? And he heard screams and he didn't react at first, and then he came outside and saw the dragon attacking. So I want you guys to imagine the screams you would hear from an entire village getting attacked by a dragon, and then tell me if you would think that that would sound like small children.
I don't know.
Right.
Have you heard small children scream?
To the extent of an entire village being attacked by a dragon? No. You know what I mean? That was just that threw me off kind of while we were speaking. He'd been honest, and then at that point it was like, what? It made no sense to me.
It's a little odd, but we just need more information. We can talk about this later when we're contained in our own little lodgings, place to rest. But
We can also ask the other villagers if they felt that there was any sort of delay in his response.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Well, let's go talk to these people in this infirmary here. I know that we want to go talk to those people that survived from the other village, but if these people actually were in the attack, maybe they can give us some more details about what they saw with this dragon rider. I mean, that's new. Haven't heard about that before.
He probably had a green mask on his face.
I mean, to be able to command that large of a dragon, we'd have to assume that that could potentially be Narenvane, right?
Yes, without a doubt in my mind or my sword.
If he's here, that changes things.
Yes.
All right, so as you guys approach the infirmary with these thoughts in mind, these questions, as we're at the end of our session time, we'll go ahead and wrap up here. One bit of info I will pass to you guys is after you have some brief chat with these folks and try to ask gentle but pressing questions, you hear a lot of repeated information of what you heard from Galen. The only thing that's really new that you hear is some of these injured people say they also saw the Dragon Rider, and they don't think it was a human because they moved with the grace of an elf. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and hang it up here, guys. We'll pick up again next week and continue the adventure from there.
Sweet.
Sounds
Night.
good, folks.
Have a
Hey,
good night.
have a
Good
good
job,
week.
everybody.
Night,
Yeah.
everyone.
boys.
We all survived.
Woohoo!